You're on. Good. All right, well, good afternoon, everybody. If you're watching on the internet or here in the conference centre at Aberystwyth, welcome to round 2, the commentary. And as usual, beside me, I've got International Master Ravikumar. Even though you can't see him, I can assure you he's here and will announce his presence.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone.
Speak to the crowd, Ravi. Speak to the crowd.
Yeah, a lot of interesting matches today, round 2. And, you know, the one thing I noticed was when Hebden started his game, he, for the first 6-7 moves, he was just playing like instantaneous.
Right.
His opponent was thinking quite a bit, and the opening was quite interesting. We will get to that. We could talk more about it.
We'll get to that eventually. Will it be a case of the favourites overrunning lesser players this afternoon, or are these games much more well matched?
No, I think today, you know, I mean, like we said yesterday, the player who's obviously, you know, got the higher rating, experience, and everything, whom we expect to win, has to find something, some kind of a line where they can kind of create some confusion. Because yesterday, you remember when he played that C5 and Queen C7, I mean, had Havel gone into like a mainline Grunfeld, probably would have, you know, we would have seen a much more, you know, difficult game.
I think more a confident game from Burnett.
Yeah.
Because Burnett was certainly sidestepped by that continuation.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, James Jackson, he's a pretty strong player, isn't he? I think his ECF rating is something massive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it something like 225 or something? It's something enormous. So he's a young guy. I think he recently won a tournament, open tournament at the Weald, which just took place in front of many strong players. So he's quite a formidable opponent.
Yeah, and his FIDE grade, it says 2320. So that's clearly like, you know, high up there. I mean, like, he must have played quite a bit. And so, I mean, we could expect a good match, you know. I mean, it's an up-and-coming player against, you know, Havel. And Havel has white pieces.
Well, let's see what happens, shall we? Go for it.
Okay. You wouldn't like the first one.
I'm guessing it's C4.
G3.
G3. Okay, well, Hal started playing C4 last year, and this time it's G3, which could easily transpose back into the English.
Yeah, but it's basically like when he plays G3, he's saying that, you know, I'm not ready for any mainline. I don't want to play any mainline with you. I just want to see how you respond, because if he plays E5 straight away, then, you know, he could go into some kind of something unfamiliar.
Well, also after E5, black white can go C4, so it doesn't make too much difference. It's just in English. So what did he do?
So G3, Knight F6.
Okay.
Bishop G2, D5.
Yep.
Knight F3, C5. So this shows ambition.
It does, very much so.
Yeah. And castle, Knight C6. And
ironically, Howell's game from yesterday in reverse.
Yeah, and he goes D4.
D4?
Yeah.
Okay, so this could easily become a Catalan, couldn't it, if black plays E6?
Yeah. And also, I think this is like Grunfeld with an extra move, isn't it?
Well, it's a Catalan, isn't it? Because, of course, it is a kind of Grunfeld in reverse, but I think black shouldn't be too ambitious in this position.
So black played E6.
For instance, one thing he certainly shouldn't do, I don't think, is to start going into exchange variation in reverse positions, something like this, because there, I think, he could get into serious trouble, where white's got an extra tempo. But if he goes C takes D4, knight takes D4, and E6, I'm pretty sure that's also possible. Just be very modest from the opening.
Yeah, I think, I think here, even that in that position, knight C6 and C4. I mean, that's what Howell wants, wasn't it? He wants a Grunfeld with an extra move.
Well, let's see what happened. What did he do? I'm
so
guessing
he played
E6.
C4, and
no, it's black's move.
Black played E6.
E6, okay.
And he played C4.
So we have direct transposition now back into a Catalan, or it could be a Tarrasch. It depends.
And Bishop E7.
Bishop E7.
And the point I like about how Howell is handling this is that, if he played the Tarash, if you get to the British Championship, possibly you're not a one opening, player. Oh, I only know that against D4. I only know, French against E4. You probably dabbed with all the openings. So I think that here playing DC5 is again Howell saying, okay, let's go to some uncharted territory, okay? And instead of playing CD5, AD5, and then going into that standard setup.
What do you mean? This could easily transpose into a Tarash. That's true.
I think if you look at the way the chess games are played now, in tournament, the people who play CD5, AD5 like are the top 25. Probably, they're so confident they can just outplay you in any opening. So sometimes, it's also choice that when Howell plays D takes C5, it also looks very logical because Black just played Bishop E7 and he wasted the move.
Well, of course, going back before Bishop E7, Black could easily have played D takes C4 here. And then we could have got some complicated lines after Queen A4. I think there's some queen sacrifice in this line, isn't there?
Yeah. You could go for this and...
Is it something like, how does this queen sacrifice go? It's something like this, isn't it? Then does White take this off? I think that's right. Then Black takes this. Then White takes this. Then Black goes here.
Yeah.
And then he goes here, White, doesn't he? Then Black sacks his queen like this.
And then Bishop C6.
And then we get an interesting position.
Yeah, but if we went back a couple of moves, what I would like to say is that for D takes C4, there's another move which is quite nagging, which is knight E5.
Not now, surely.
So I can check my move.
No, I think it's after Black has played. It's a different line.
Okay.
All right, so he went Bishop E7, inviting a Tarash, and what did Hal do?
D takes C5.
So he doesn't want a kind of Tarash, all right.
Bishop takes C5.
And now if C takes D5, this also could be a Tarash, could it not?
Yeah. And Bishop takes C5.
Yep.
And A3.
Right, so this is a clear sign that Hal just wants to sit down and have a game of chess with this guy. He thinks he's a better player, he avoids theory, and he just wants to sit down and play chess. Because A3, there can't be anything wrong with it. Let's just check. I've got the facility to check. I may as well check. Are there any recent games? Oh, there are quite a few recent games. Let's have a look at the ratings of the opponents. Okay, some higher rated players have played this, albeit not on a completely regular basis. I suppose they do it in exactly the same type of circumstances that Howell is doing it here. He just wants to find something a little bit off the beaten track whereby he can outplay his opponent. And now I suppose it's a question of whether James Jackson wants to play A5 or not to stop B4.
So D takes C5, Bishop takes C5, A3.
Yeah. Did he play A5?
He played knight D4.
Knight E4. Now that already looks like a trappy move, which shouldn't be that good.
And I would have played Queen C2.
Right. Well, hang on a sec. Let's try and work out whether Black's actually threatening anything here. I mean, let's say I see the. Do you see the idea? Do people in the audience see the idea of what Black's going to do after this? Where did that voice come from? I think that is his idea, isn't it? Possibly. And then White has to play Rook A2. Now, what happens next? Is there some trap here we've overlooked? Already it's way off the beaten track, isn't it? I mean, if Black has to move the bishop, then that move Queen F6 looks fishy. Did Hal play B4? He didn't.
He didn't.
Okay, so there's probably something wrong with it then. So just let's go back to this position.
Yeah, and
I mean, Queen F6 looks like
Queen F6, Rook A2.
Yeah.
The engine thinks he's 1.09 better.
Who, White?
Yeah.
Well, Black's really committing himself playing this way, isn't he? He's committing all his pieces. Bishop b2 is going to be a free move. Anybody see anything? I mean, maybe I'm just missing something, but it doesn't look as though knight takes f2 or bishop takes f2 is going to be any call. The bishop's hanging, that's the problem. This bishop's hanging. That's. Well, you want to go in caveman style here. Okay, let's see it, let's see it. Now what? You're systematically exchanging off all of your developed pieces. This is the sort of thing I love when I'm the opponent. And the attack is? I do have the attack, that's true. I do have the attack in this position. Some other move order. There may have been, but there may not. So b4, we still haven't solved this riddle. What's going on here?
Well, I can tell you what the theory says at that point.
There's theory on this?
Yeah. And then
okay, what does it say?
Just calm move, bishop e7.
It's bishop e7.
Then bishop to b2. And then bishop to f6, and then queen c2. And
what's the evaluation?
White has won the game. Only games, one game played in that, and White, but I'm sure there might be other games.
We can easily find out with one click of the mouse. There are 4 games, and White has won the lot. Sorry? Can you shut another blind? I don't mind. Yes, absolutely. Why not?
So I think that you know, I kind of like Howell's move because that keeps all the, you know, it's not specifying things very clearly, and queen c2 is a move that.
So queen c2 is the game.
So when I play queen c2, that's the first choice of the engine, and it thinks.
That move knight e4, there's something about it. It looks fishy, doesn't it? You know, it just looks fishy. If he wasn't such a strong player, if somebody 120 played that, you'd say, well, come on, what are you doing here? Castle, for heaven's sake, let's get on with the game. But when somebody 220 plays it, then you sit up and take notice. But unless it's connected to some sack on f2, I just don't see what it achieves. I mean, maybe it's a great move, I don't know, but from the statistics, it didn't look as though it was. So queen c2, he could have gone b4. He can still go b4. Instead, he plays queen c2.
Queen c2.
I mean, what's that knight doing on e4? Can anybody see it? I just don't see what. Yeah, but possibly, but it's a big lag in development here.
But he's trying to ensure the diagonals.
I have to say, I do not like that move.
I think the reason might become apparent after his next move, which was queen b6 straight away. So
he doesn't hang about, this bloke, does he? He's going for the early bath here, one way or the other.
So I think, and Howell played e3.
You do surprise me.
And and I think in this position that he's going to play a5, which kind of secures his bishop on c5.
Well, surely Black's going to be run away off the board if he allows b4. So
Yeah,
you've probably got to do something like
move.
this. Is that played?
It hasn't been played, but I'm saying that is possibly.
Well, I'll tell you what, the first thing I want to do is to get rid of that knight, because it's annoying me. Now, how do I get rid of the knight best? I mean, how about knight bd2? Let's get rid of that thing.
The engine thinks you should play rook d1.
Well, forget about the engine for the minute. They can't play chess. So what about knight bd2? Let's get. Can you go knight takes f2 in this position?
Knight bd2, f5.
Just f5. God, it's getting worse and worse, isn't it? Look at these moves.
But I think that after a5,
So rook d1 just to put pressure on d5.
yeah, what? Oh, okay. I have a different approach there. Can I play rook on f1 back, please? And can I play c times d5, e times d5, and then play knight f to d2, forcing that exchange?
It forces the exchange. What if I go insane with f5? Looks distinctly untrustworthy, doesn't it? But anyway, still got to refute it.
Yeah, I think probably knight f d2 is not correct, and I think you have to play rook d1, which puts pressure on that d5 pawn.
I think you know, I'll take it all back about computers. They're all right. So what about rook d1 then? That looks as though it makes life slightly more difficult for black. Black runs the risk of being blown off the board here if white finds the right way, or if black plays even one move out of place. So black's, you know, walking a thin line here with this position. On the other hand, he's trying to, you know, establish a gain out of the opening. That knight on e4, is it well placed or is it not? Okay, rook d1. Now come on, have we got a good move for black?
Yeah, rook d1, only move knight e7.
Knight e7. Well, I kind of like that if he has to go there.
Yeah, but I think that is what makes it quite interesting. That rook d1, you're putting pressure. You then take the knight back to e7.
What if I was to play knight c3 here? Takes, queen takes. How about that? And then black's probably got a castle. Am I making progress? Okay, b3.
I think the machine thinks he should play bishop d2.
When?
Not b3, not knight c3, just bishop d2 straight away.
Bishop d2?
Yeah, allowing that exchange and then...
Okay, I don't understand that move. Well, you know, you have to say Howell has got what he wanted. You know, it's a strange game of chess where I presume he's hoping to outplay his opponents. We can just check on whether this has been played. Probably found, no games found. There we are. Well, there's no, that's not a surprise.
Yeah. And
it's very obscure.
And to everyone's surprise, he didn't even bother to play a5. He just castled black.
Well, then I stand by my earlier comment. He could be run off the board here, could he? Could he not after b4?
b4 is bishop e7.
Is that played?
No.
So he just castled. Well, you played a3. Why don't we go b4? All right, b4. Come on. Bishop e7.
Not played in the game, but b4, I guess, is bishop e7. And then if you play bishop to b2, possibly... I think the main problem is the bishop on c8. You see, as long as the bishop on c8 cannot get to somewhere really good, then, you know, there lies your problem.
Okay, bishop b2 then. You go bishop f6, I presume?
I have to play bishop f6, but then knight bd2. You're doing very much fine.
Well, I mean, it's got to be slightly better for white at least, because black's got problems developing his queen side.
Yeah.
White's development proceeds unhindered, and he can centralise his rooks. For black, it's quite difficult.
Yeah, and almost I think b4 is completely forced here. Otherwise, you've just given black a lot of development. You have to get that b4, and then get the bishop on the long diagonal, and then carry on playing.
The computer only thinks some sort of edge for white after b4.
Okay.
Bishop e7, bishop b2, and then it thinks f5.
Yeah.
This f5 move looks so lousy with that pawn on d5 ready to be taken, doesn't it? Okay, any more moves?
No more moves.
So black has just castled and white's thinking.
Yeah.
Well, has he got any other move apart from b4 worth consideration? I mean, white's also got to get his queenside pieces out. So you'd think that b4 really does help with that process. And then bishop b2, I mean, it couldn't be more natural, could it? Yeah, you can do that. Knight c3, well, black's probably going to chop that off. Queen takes, and now how about a5 here? And now you've got the slight problem of how you get your queenside pieces. I mean, I suppose you can go b3, then you could probably play d4. You know, it's not that easy suddenly.
Is it fair to say that white is going to get his bishop on c1 and the knight on b1 without much difficulty? Black has this bishop on c8, which is not going to be easy to get that bishop on c8 to anywhere, to any, you know, any good square.
I think white's going to play b4, and he will be relatively happy. So let's move on to what should be nasty, brutish and short, the game between Jack Rudd and Nick Pert. Short in terms of time, I meant, not in terms of length. Right, okay. We all know Jack Rudd. He just doesn't really hang around. I think that's the best way to describe it. So, okay, off we go.
Yeah, and this morning I just came here and Jack was just running around and walking around, and then I said, hey, good luck to your game. And then he says, okay, I know what I'm going to do. Right, you know, he had a clear idea in the morning, so he's not going to mess about. And he said it's going to be a Tarash where I have something prepared up. And all
right, so he's got something prepared.
Yeah.
All right, so e4.
So he had something in his mind this morning.
And I'll tell you what, in recent times, Nick Pert has been playing e5 as a second alternative. His favourite move is the French defence.
Yeah.
But he's published a lot of things on that recently. He's got a book going around. He's got DVDs going around. And he has been playing e5 with success. So Jack couldn't have guaranteed it was going to be a French defence.
But he was very sure this morning when I talked to him. He said, it's going to be a French.
He rang Nick Pert up last night. He said, Nick, play the French, please. And Nick said, all right, see you.
But I think, I think
simple as that.
You know what Nick should be thinking? I think, you know, well, why should he play e5, something new against Jack? Anyway, Jack is going to go straight, you know, he's going to do what he's going to do. So
well, let's see what he did do. D5?
D4, e6, d4, d5.
Yeah.
Knight d2, knight f6.
Okay, so we've got the Tarash variation here.
Yeah, e5, knight d7.
Knight f6 is one of the mainline moves. e5, knight d7.
Yeah, and then he went f4.
Okay, so white's got a fundamental choice to make here between bishop d3 or c3.
Yeah.
Basically, systems where you delay f4 and systems where you play it immediately. I've always felt this is the most critical line. Yeah. As black, when I have to face this, I always feel a little bit uncomfortable. Because it's so difficult to shape white's centre.
He was playing this very quickly when I just popped in to have a look around. And you know, it was going bang, bang, bang. So
well, let's see how Pert responds to his bang, bang, bang. Is it c5? Okay.
He played c5.
c3?
c3.
Yeah.
Knight c6.
Yeah. Knight df3.
Knight df3.
All right. Nothing
Queen
new
to b6.
Okay. This is the main line.
a3.
a3. All right. So hang on. So this is white's making a lot of pawn moves. That's what I notice at the moment. Is he going to go b4 to gain some space? Is that the idea?
Yeah, that's possibly one of the idea. And I thought here black should play a5, and black has played a5 in this position.
We can quickly check that. Very popular. Lots of high-level games. The game Kasparov versus Groshiny with a cool 1,000 ELO point difference is at the top of the list for some bizarre reason. I presume that's some sort of simultaneous display. And what is the analysis check here? Just very quickly, a5 has been played in the majority of games, and bishop e7 second best, with c4 coming in a rank third. Okay, so what did he do?
He played bishop e7.
Bishop e7. So you see, the thing is that a lot of games in this line, they either end in white squeezing black to death, or they end in a violent death for white. You know, black manages to play moves like f6. I've even seen him play g5, just blow the whole position up, while white's pieces are all on the back rank, while he's pushing all those pawns. That is the risk that Rudd is taking. So Pert settles for a developing move. He's probably going to castle. He'll probably then play f6 and just try and blow the position up. So what did Rudd do? And of course, if Jack's playing really quickly and the position becomes tactical,
Yeah, and he played B3.
he can miss something. Another pawn move.
B3.
Is this what he's got prepared?
H6.
B3. Now,
B3 played. Mainly he says, I don't want to play B4 because after
why not?
B4, CD, you know, black can get some C4 square for him eventually.
Why do you play A3 and then you don't play B4? I don't get it. Is there something wrong with that move? Apart from the fact it's pushing another pawn.
I think it's CD4, isn't it?
CD4, okay.
And then castle.
Yeah. Well, of course, black could do this in the game.
No, he didn't do this in the game. And
You see what I mean? White's pieces, you know, White's pieces are really slow in coming out. And what is he going to do with his king? That's the thing. B3, that's a weird move. Has that been played? Only one game by Jack Rudd in this line, which he lost. This is not, the omens are not good. The omens are not good. So this is a Jack Rudd special, this move, yeah. B3. If we just go back one move, let's just check it now. Thousands of games. So B3 is the Jack Rudd move. All right, so this is what he's got prepared, Ravi. Yeah. Now let's see if how long the preparation took him. So what did black do?
I think this variation is going to be cool.
So Thompson played A5, Rook A2, Knight DB8.
Yeah, I see. I remember. Is this from the last year's British or something like that?
Well, a few years back. I mean, for black, I would be thinking about castles and F6, but there we are. So Pert played H6.
No, yeah, played H6.
H6. Is he going to play G5? Is that the idea?
And then white played H4.
Pushing one more pawn.
So how many pawn moves has he done so far?
Too many.
No, we played 10 moves. So the only move that, the only piece move I can see is Knight D3, which he played.
He's moved that knight twice, and eight pawn
Knight
moves.
D2.
Mind you, the position's blocked, so you can afford that sort of luxury.
So 8 pawn moves, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, 8 pawn moves. You know, I mean, if you know, you ever went to a club class, the first thing you say, okay, can you not make more than 2 or 3 pawn moves? And here's Jack Rudd sitting the record saying, I'd like to play 8 pawn moves, not with anybody else, but with the grandmaster.
I think there's a ninth pawn move coming up, actually, if the truth be known. So can we just carry on?
So H4, A6.
A6, okay, black's getting in on the action.
9th pawn move with H5.
Well, okay, so let's have a look at it from, I'd rather look at it from that side. So if I was black, I think now this guy's got to be punished. But how do I punish him? I need to open up the game somehow. I need to get it open. Because, you know, as long as the game remains closed, all these pawn moves are not so troublesome. Now this move H5, so moves like Rook H3 are coming into the equation, then Rook G3, that's a possibility. The role of this pawn on B3 escapes me for the time being. I just don't get it. Maybe he just wants to move this bishop to E3. Maybe that's the idea. But as black, I would be thinking about castling F6. Let's get this position open. So what did he do?
Right. Okay. So
is it a competition time?
No.
No. Okay.
So basically, black cannot castle because he's going to face maybe G4 and, you know, come after you. One more pawn move. So he plays Queen C7. That
would have meant that white's moved every single pawn he's got. If black castles and white goes G4. Is that so stupid? Okay, it's stupid, but it's not illogical. Okay, he didn't do that then.
So he played Queen C7.
Queen C7, so is he getting ready for B5?
And then he played Bishop to B2.
Bishop B2. It makes so dark squares. Once he plays Bishop B2, it really does start to make the squares around his king look very vulnerable. The question is, can white actually take advantage of that? F6, we've got to play F6 somewhere. Okay, what did he do?
He played B5.
b5, ignoring my suggestions completely.
And then knight e2, g1 to e2.
Right.
And knight b6.
Okay, so could black be castling on the queen side?
Yeah. And another pawn move with d to c5.
Which one?
D takes c5.
Okay, bishop takes. Knight e
Takes
d4.
c5, and then knight e d4. And then he's played bishop e7.
Bishop e7.
And then he's gone for the exchange with knight c6, queen c6, knight d4. And the point I see here is that, you know, he's possibly going to play bishop d3. And I think he's kind of achieved what he wants, isn't it? What has black achieved out of the opening? Apart from, you know, I'm not sure he's going to castle.
Well, you could be destroyed quite quickly if I play f6 at the right moment, couldn't you?
Yeah,
so what if I move this queen, first of all?
Okay, if you move the queen to c7.
You're going bishop d3, are you?
I
Queen
think
g4.
Bishop d3.
What about that? Would
Queen
that be the
d4.
idea?
Yeah, queen d4. I would play queen d4.
I think that's one substantial thing that Jack's achieved. He's opened up a path for his queen.
He's found that.
I mean, Nick's actually, in true style, has actually been playing rather slowly, hasn't he?
Yeah.
You know, he hasn't tried to refute White's idea at all.
Now, kind of looking at this position with knight d4, I kind of like white because that knight on d4 is like absolutely wonderful. And I know he's got his bishop on b2, which isn't great, but he's got queen coming to g4, and then rook to g8, then bishop to d3. I can't see black getting out of it. Maybe, you know, we're in for a good upset today. So what happens if we just
Okay, one moment. I just want to just cheat a little bit and have a look what the engine suggests here after b3. So I can't believe that. You see, look what it suggests. It suggests opening up the position straight away. So takes f6. Clear advantage to black. Doesn't surprise me. I mean, that's what black should be thinking about doing. White's making all these pawn moves. Why don't you get things open? So bishop d3 is given as the best move, and now it's changing its mind all the time. I thought I saw g4. Castles. Okay, knight e2, this is all normal. And then we go f takes e5, f takes e5, rook takes f3. G takes h3, bishop h4, check, king f1, and now take this off. Yeah, that would be more French-like. You know, the games I've seen. This is the sort of thing they do. There have been some famous games in this line where White's completely got obliterated by this type of attack. But that was before the computer era. You know, you put these positions up on something like Houdini and Deep Fritz, and they can refute, you know, the whole history of chess basically by White may deliberately aim for this if he's analysed it with a computer beforehand. But of course, I doubt Jack would have done that. So it looks like an energetic reaction is necessary from black to challenge this opening by White, all these pawn moves. But Nick has played this very slowly, and what we've got now is a situation where actually I also prefer White because of this idea of Queen G4. I mean, how is he going to meet this move?
Nick played Queen C7.
Yes.
And then Jack has now played Bishop D3.
Okay, so why does he not play that? Is there something wrong with that move? He looks so thematic. Is he going to, black got to play King F8? I can't believe that. Well, you may have to go Bishop F8. That's true. Okay, he doesn't rule out the idea of Queen G4. He played Bishop D3 first, right? So now the question remains: what's black going to do with his king? Is he going to castle queenside?
And also, I think that
he may have to.
He needs to worry about White playing A4, B takes A4, and then B4 and things like that. And also, he should be also worried about Rook C1. But I think the main point is now Queen G4, only move maybe Bishop F8, and then maybe Rook H3.
What is to stop White from playing this completely straightforwardly now by playing his Queen to G4, castling on the king side, Rook A E1, and then F5?
Yeah.
That's just straightforward. I mean, what's wrong with that? That's revert to normal moves.
Did you say G1? A bit bishop B7? After queen G4?
Maybe. But it's starting to get fishy if you.
But then you can't take the F1 because the bishop H4 check.
Maybe.
That's kind of Frenchy, isn't it?
Let's keep our views open about this position. What happened next? Any more moves?
No.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I imagine White's a bit better here. Let's just check this out one more time. This
Nick is thinking and
likes White.
the time on the
0.9. So I think Nick hasn't found the optimal answer to this play by Rudd.
Yeah.
He had to be more energetic. Played it very slowly, and now White's got a nice advantage. I mean, I'm sure attacking players would look at White's position. Yes, I like this. Queen coming out to G4. Straightforward attacking plan available. Should be quite nice for White. So that will be interesting.
Are there any decent ideas for that you suggest?
Yeah, do something better beforehand.
I mean,
Well, what active plans can you see for Black? It's hard now.
I think the primary problem is the bishop on c8 and his knight on b6. Either of those pieces is not doing anything.
Okay, let me try and crawl out. I'll try and crawl out.
I think Nick is going to play knight d7 now, threatening knight c5 and knight e4.
Okay, let's go on to the next game because we can wait and see what happens in that one. So Hebden versus Brown. You said Hebden was bashing out his moves in the opening. So let's see what those moves were.
So I kind of went, when I went in, the first move was d4.
B4,
And
yeah.
knight f6 was played very quickly.
Yes.
And then Hebden played bishop g5.
The Trompowsky, no less.
Yeah, and then Black took about 6 to 7 minutes before he made his move, and he was thinking.
Well, Hebden's been playing knight f3 almost exclusively in recent years. So the opponent had probably prepared for that and was now thinking, why did I waste my time this morning?
What's he normally playing? Is he playing e6? Because he might be I've
hardly ever seen him play the Tromp.
No, but if his opponent plays e6, then he could transpose into a Tory attack.
Yeah, he could go back into the Tory attack, that's true. But Hebden plays this line where in the Tory attack, where knight f3, e6, I've seen him play c3. That's the Hebden Tory, it's called.
Yeah.
So, where you might not play bishop g5 at all. So this is a little bit of a departure from the norm for Mark Hebden. So I'm not surprised that Black was thinking, what did he come up with?
So after 7 minutes g6.
Because of course after knight e4, if Black decides to play this line, then Hebden can't play any of his favourite lines. So it's quite a big decision by White. So what did he do?
g6.
He went g6. Okay, well that's also interesting. So takes f6.
Bishop into f6.
Yeah.
E to f6.
Yeah.
e3.
e3 normal.
d5.
d5. Yes, this was recommended by Grivas a long time ago in a chess-based magazine. That's quite a decent way
Knight
of playing.
d2.
Knight d2.
Yeah, and then bishop g7.
Right, hang on a sec. I'm pretty sure I thought c4 was the right move there. Anyway, I suppose Hebden's again thinking along the same lines as how I'm going to just outplay this guy. Don't want any action.
So knight d2, bishop g7, and then he goes c4.
But I don't like that move, bishop g7, you know.
Well, what is the theory?
Oh, well, I'm just thinking, what if I play f5 here?
I think it's should be something like c4 anyway.
c4 anyway, but then your knight's on d2.
On my knight on g1 is can get to c3 if necessary.
I was wondering one day whether I could put my bishop on h6. That was the only thing, and go f4. But it's a bit ambitious. All right, bishop g7. Come on, that's a normal sort of move.
So bishop g7, c4.
c4, okay. c6.
Castles.
Castles.
Knight e2.
Knight e2. Slow going.
DC4, knight C4. And we have a competition move coming up next. What date?
Competition move coming up. Okay, let's see what books. Yes, we've got a lot of valuable prizes there this afternoon. And you can have your pick of the prizes. What is the competition, Ravi?
Guess the next move for black.
Got to be accompanied with an explanation. Is that right? It's no good blurting out a move. You've got to say why you played it,
Yeah.
or why it should be played. And I want to win the book is not sufficient. We need some chess reasons. Can I just see what it was, please? Yes, okay, it's sufficiently vague. The explanation has to be a good one. Yes, please.
B5.
B5. Which tournament are you in, sir?
Major Open.
The Major Open. Okay, best of luck. Okay, can you accompany that with an explanation, apart from the fact you want to take the knight?
Well, he's obviously not going to take the knight, but I mean, I'm just thinking, has the knight actually got any really brilliant squares after moving?
Well, what if I just run away?
Well, yeah, I must admit, I don't really like the play.
Actually,
It looks a little bit
another
shaky.
square?
Eh?
You're going to have to play A6.
Can I highlight the C5 square for the gentleman?
Well, this one?
Yeah.
Well, you think that might be occupied in due course by this knight?
Is there anything
In the Major Open, not in the British Championship.
Don't forget, pawns can't move backwards, sir. This is a very important thing to remember.
Bishop to B7.
B7. Is he setting up some cheapo? No cheapos. Okay. This is the sort of position where Hebden sits down for a nice long session and you lose.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't give Mark a slight edge out of the opening where you haven't got counterplay. That is what he absolutely loves. Anyway, it wasn't B5. Sorry about that. Yes, sir.
F5.
F5.
The idea is to stop him playing E4 instead, to stop him get the centre and open the diagonal position.
All right. Okay. And also setting a trap. If White plays G3, Black goes Queen D5. What about that?
Yeah.
That's not bad for an off-the-cuff trap there. Very unusual. And White loses something. Unfortunately for you, he didn't play F5. You might well. Please. Can't mention any more moves. Are you saying C5, by the way?
No, up to 5.
Yeah, that's true. F5 is not a bad move at all. But he didn't do that.
I think F5, possibly knight C3. Oh, then you have F4 getting rid of that, you know. So F5 is quite interesting.
Yeah.
Can't move the knight away from E2. Have to do something about the B7. So maybe I have to play Queen to B3.
I think I prefer that move to the move that was actually played. If that helps anybody in the audience.
Bishop H3.
What did, sir?
Bishop H3.
Bishop H3.
Then Queen to.
Can we go for that line, please?
Which line?
Bishop H3.
Bishop H3?
Yeah.
Is somebody on drugs here?
No.
I can't actually see how any. White Black could play Bishop H3.
Okay.
But
That's an interesting line. Can we just go? Bishop H3, pawn takes H3.
It's getting a bit blurry at the edges here.
Bishop takes H3, Queen D5, and then now knight G3, 1-0.
Whatever you're taking, don't take any more. That's all right.
I played
It's not a good idea.
I mean, that's cute, isn't it? I mean, like bishop supporting on C4. It's a good idea, but the
I
gentleman
must
said,
admit, I never even thought of Bishop H3. It's just a bizarre move. Isn't it?
well, it's been one famous Bishop H3 in the British Championship.
There was?
Yes, one famous Bishop H3 played by Sveshnikov. No,
Sveshnikov in the British Championship?
No.
I must have missed that year.
Suba.
Oh, Suba, yeah, I remember.
Bishop
He's
H3.
born.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, we still haven't found this move.
But
Pardon me? C5. He didn't play C5 either. Again, that's quite thematic. You know, that's a sort of pawn which Hebden might consider taking.
But I think for f5 is the best. I can see that, you know, you opening up the diagonal.
F5 is definitely definitely a strong candidate.
And if I can't play g3, maybe for f5, white has to play rook c1, which protects that bishop, and then, you know.
Well, f5 is thematic. He didn't do it.
Yeah.
Anybody else? We still haven't found Martin Brown's move. It was not f5. It was not c5. It certainly wasn't bishop h3. Well, hands up, please. You've got to have some order. Anarchy, otherwise. Yes, please. Queen to e7, another steady move. Well, of course, there can't be anything wrong with that. But he didn't do that either. Sorry. Perhaps it's too steady for Martin Brown. Beware, members of the audience sitting near the back who have just come in through the door. That is the correct move. However, now I play my second trump card. Please explain the move, Philip. Thank you.
You could now play f5, and then you could get knight to c5. You could then hop into e4, and then put pressure on f2.
This knight is going to put some pressure on f2. Bang. It's a long-term plan.
It's after his resign.
Sorry?
It's after his resign.
All right. Well, I can see why Black might play knight a6. What's he planning next apart from c5? Yeah, I think he wants to play c5. All right. Well, I think we will award you the book prize for that suggestion. Would you kindly give the gentleman the move 1b4, the book on 1b4? Thank you. Round of applause for our friend. Excellent. Well done. That move's not a patch on bishop h3, but anyway, it wins in the book.
So the knight on a6 actually stops 1b4, isn't it?
It stops 1b4, that's true.
And but interestingly, you know, I mean, this position, he wants to play c5.
Well, I mean, think of it this way: White's playing this opening incredibly slowly, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's played knight d2, then he plays knight e2, then he's taken on c4 with the knight, and he's probably going to have to move this knight very quickly as well. So that's 4 moves with the knight in the opening, because he can't play g3, because we return to our old friend.
Yeah.
g3 is definitely the move White wants to make, I think, and then bishop g2 and so on, but he can't do it. Which tends to suggest that, you know, back here, White should think about g3. Is there something wrong with that move? And then they take the pawn bishop g2 and get that bishop on the long diagonal.
Yeah.
Is that possible? I don't think Black can keep this pawn, can he? I don't know. It's a bit unusual. So what did Hebden do? What are you saying?
It's rebooting. Sorry.
Rebooting. I mean, we've got to make it up as we go along. Anybody know what Hebden did?
Isn't it an idea in this line to play knight f4, because in order to shift it, you have to play a very anti-positional move. So
Yes, but that's a lot of knight moves, and now I'm very keen to activate my pieces. I mean, of course, you're right. You know, I'm thinking about knight f4, but
well, not necessarily on this move, but
well, yeah, but if you don't, you say that, but if you don't play a move like knight f4, what do you do? That's what I'm saying. What do you do?
oh, I see. Well,
It's hard to find moves. Of course, you can play some move like a3 and pretend you're actually doing something, or rook c1. Perhaps that looks slightly more logical. Maybe that's the best.
Does it make sense for Black to play bishop g4 just to stop that not doing it?
You could or to entice f3.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could try something like that. And then I suppose White would just play a move like queen b3, wouldn't it?
Okay, I have got a.
You've got a substitute. Excellent.
Yeah,
well
I
done.
got
So what did he
substitute.
do?
So
If I had to guess, second guess Hebden's move, I'd say
Yeah.
rook c1. Move 9.
Move number 9. He played knight c3.
Okay, so that's the 4th move with these knights.
and then c5 and d5,
C5, D5.
and now rook b8.
Yeah, I'm starting to distrust this position for white.
Yeah, but I think the main problem have been.
Well, he's moving his knights around too much. That's the.
Yeah,
If
and
there's
also,
a problem, it's going to be
and
because
also
of
I
that.
think that he's relying himself too much on the pass pawn on d5, and
I don't trust this for white suddenly. Rook b8 looks like a good move to me.
rook b8 threatening b5, and then if you play a4, he's got knight b4.
Yeah, you could hop in
And
there.
you're not.
Isn't black better here?
Looks
To
like
me, it looks as though black is better.
Looks like c2 is also working.
I mean,
So, I
b5 is definitely a threat. f5 then,
So
open up that
if you
diagonal.
play a4, then doesn't he play knight b4?
Yeah, I'd hop in there. Why
And then
not?
his next move is possibly bishop f5.
Or b6 and a6.
Yeah. Or
Just f5.
yeah, I think even before playing knight b4, it might be better to play f5. So Hebden played a4. He did not want to allow that.
Oh, black's got some interesting
Yeah,
moves.
and then I think now it's very important to get f5 in, so if you kind of disconnect that pawn on d5 away from that, and you've got good square on that. You have to play bishop f5 here.
f5, you mean? Not bishop f5.
Yeah, pawn to f5.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't wait for knight b4 and bishop f5. And one of the things you could do is put the bishop on b7, and then the knight on b4. I kind of like black's position. He's got good grips with it.
What's wrong with knight b4 here? Sorry, I don't understand.
Knight b4 was e4, is what I thought.
Really? f5, he has to go e5. It looks very, very shaky. What if I play rook e8 first? I mean, isn't this like a modern Benoni or King's Indian, where white seems to have given up his dark square bishop, and you've got some lag in development? This is looking horrible. If I turn this on, I'm going to show a massive advantage to black. There we are. Of course it is. You don't need a computer to tell you that white's in trouble here. It's playing a modern Benoni, tempos behind, and without the dark square bishop. So I think Hebden could be in a spot of bother here.
Really don't like that knight c3.
But he says it's all right here. He's got to play Queen D2 or something like that. Well, if he's in trouble here, it's because of all these knight moves. He's played it so slowly. Because normally after D5, white either plays C4 or he goes G3. And the way it goes, you go something like this, and then white plays knight E2, and black plays some move like this, and then white goes knight D2, and black plays some move. Now you get C4, and this is the way they play it, something like that. At least that's how I've seen it played. The way Hebden plays it, he kind of tinkers with the move order. Plays C4 before developing his king side, and that has led him into difficulty, I think. Where he's been forced to advance prematurely, and now really, I don't know, knight b4 looks good, f5 looks good, rook e8 is possible, black's got a nice game.
I actually have a better plan here.
For
If you
black?
play, for white. If you play knight b4, what's wrong with me playing bishop e2?
Well, nothing, but do you think you're better in that position?
No, I'm thinking that I'm going to put the bishop on f3. I'm going to put rook on c1. And, you know, I have this massive pass pawn. So unless black can prove something, you know, he has to either put some more pressure. I'm going to get the position I want with the bishop on f3.
Right, well, let's kick off with b6. To me, that looks logical.
So bishop f3.
Bishop f3, then I wanted to play bishop a6.
Okay, and knight b5.
Yeah, but you're starting to move.
Okay.
Isn't black okay now?
No, black is very much okay. So can I just play, put the knight back on c3 and go a couple of moves? So when you played b6, maybe I just castle. That's the best thing.
Castle, okay, then I have to find a flexible move. Well, f5.
Yeah, and I think I have to get the rook to d1, isn't it, realistically? So if I play queen d2.
Queen d2, yes.
I mean, it's sizing up to be a good thing.
Rook e8. Or maybe knight
Can he play bishop to c3? Is that too ugly? I mean,
didn't even think of it. Well, he has to take the pawn. You've got to be a bit careful you don't get pinned. Let's just see this. Is this possible? Is this possible? Looks crazy, but it might be possible. Black can defend his knight just enough times, can he? Let's see. Okay, now white needs to win in this position immediately.
I mean, that kind of a decision, giving up the bishop on g7 would be a very big one. But
Well, he wins a pawn. And then queen f6 is the next move, so I don't quite see what's happening here. Get a queen out to f6, I mean, white black's just better. No, I think this idea of transferring the bishop to f3 is what white would like to do. Maybe he's got to start with queen d2 in this position, and try and. But even there f5. Are we threatening bishop takes c3 now?
yeah, I mean,
We may well be.
Yeah, but I'm saying that not necessarily I need to do that straight away, but
Any more moves? Is Brown thinking? No luck with the computer?
it's opening up, but it's not. He's played knight b4 and Adrian
Yes.
has played bishop b2.
Okay. Well, b6, I have to say, looks fairly normal. f5 must also be a move. I suppose after that he has to go bishop f3, doesn't he? Because we may again be threatening bishop takes c3.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now I think I have to play b6. No, I think I prefer it in the other variation where I played it straight away, get this move in, and then
Bishop e2, he's just played, and if you play b6, can I play just? But it's also now bishop takes c3, b takes c3, knight takes d5 is really bad. I think that
sorry, you're saying
I'm saying black has to play f5 here.
what's wrong with b6?
b6, I just play castle,
Yeah, f5,
queen to d2.
and then bishop takes c3. What's wrong with that? We just looked at this. Unless I missed something here. Is there something I missed? If you attack my knight, I protect it. And I think I'm just in time with bishop e6. Because when, you know, I can then move my knight, can't I? Furthermore, once you play bishop f3, you leave the knight on c4 unprotected. So this will give me some
The
additional
one thing I
tactical
don't like
chances.
about this is, I mean, if I play rook of d1 now,
Yeah, bishop e6.
bishop e6, and if I play bishop f3,
Bishop f3, I'll move the knight.
do you have any?
Where should we go? Well, okay. Just let's say I go there.
And then knight d6 is nothing, is it?
Well, it just looks like a pawn down to me with a bit of comp, but I should be able to should be okay here. Where should we go with the queen? Here, keep everything protected. That looks okay. Let's check this out. And what? Minus 1.5, so that's not very nice for white. No, I think b6. Why not? Let's turn it around the other way. Still doesn't inspire me for white. I feel I need a dark square bishop in this position. Any more moves? Has Brown played anything there?
He's played f5.
He played f5. He didn't play b6.
Yeah.
Well, of course, if he plays bishop f3, b6, does that allow white time to castle? So let's say white castles. I go b6, don't I? Does that change things?
So bishop f3, you're playing b6.
No, f5, right?
f5, bishop f3,
I'll go b6.
castle.
Well, now I've got bishop a6 again, haven't I? And that's a bit awkward for you, isn't it? Or we go into this other line where we go knight b5 and then queen d7. And to me, this looks fine for black, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What's wrong with it?
I can see that,
This bishop is pretty strong.
black has no problems.
No problems anyway. That's a good way of putting it. So what is the actual position in the game? He's played 12 f5, is that correct?
Yeah.
And I don't think this has worked out too well for Hebden. Just one last look at the engine. What does it say? It's giving black a slight advantage.
Yeah.
We'll just check this on another engine.
Can I make that point that even if bishop takes c3 wins for you, that's a decision you should really wait, because you have that option and you are having the better position here. So why to force something in? I'd rather hope to build it up a bit more.
Houdini Pro likes black even slightly more than Deep Frisk. All right, okay, so Hebden doesn't seem to achieve what he wanted to achieve from the opening, so which makes us move on to Ravi Harrier, very talented young man, playing white against Jonathan Hawkins. And I presume Harrier played e4, that's what he always does.
Yeah, and Hawkins played e6.
French, okay. And Harrier plays the advanced variation, if I remember correctly.
e4, e6, d4, d5, and then he went knight d2.
Okay, so he also played the Tarrasch.
And then c5.
Slightly different.
Knight f3.
Yeah.
C takes d4, knight takes d4, knight c6.
Yeah.
Bishop b5.
Okay.
Bishop d7.
Yes.
And I don't like this because, knight c6, bc6,
Knight c6, b6, bishop d3.
Bishop d3.
Right.
Has it all been played before?
Yeah, this is very common. Bang.
Bishop d6.
161 games. A lot of high-rated players playing it with white and black. White winning most of the top-class games, but that doesn't mean very much. Yes, although white wastes a little bit of time with his bishop, he's enticed the black bishop to d7, so black's got a little bit of work to do before he can get that bishop into the game.
So he played bishop d6.
Bishop d3, bishop d6 now.
Castle.
Okay, hang on a sec.
Queen to c7.
Whenever black does something like that in the French, you've always got to watch out for moves like queen g4.
I think on this occasion it's just knight f6, queen g7, rook g8, queen h6, and then possibly rook g2 here.
Yeah, why not? Bit unclear, but black's development seems to be well ahead of white now. And black's probably threatening. Is he threatening rook takes f2? It's possible, isn't it? He could be threatening rook takes f2 there.
Yeah.
And the white queen's in the wrong place. Yeah. So white's probably got to continue with development. So I presume castles comes into the frame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then queen to c7.
Queen to c7. So why is he delaying the development of that knight? Is there some reason he wants to put it on e7? He wants to play it to f6. Is that?
Yeah.
Is he just hanging back with that knight?
Yeah, he's going to play knight f6. He's making sure he gets an extra tempo. Yeah.
I suppose white's got to worry about the pawn. So what about h3? Was that played?
h3 isn't played. g3 was played, but
quick check. Is this played? Yeah. Still McShane versus Istratescu is the latest high-level example. Oh, Barrientos Chavas against Kaufman, where h3 was played. So h3 is played in the majority of moves. Games. Knight f3 is the other move. What did he do? Move 10.
He played g3 and then he played knight
g3.
Yeah, which I don't like it at all.
That looks ugly. Why do you do that?
H5.
Well, it's certainly encouraging black to play h5. It just looks a bit gratuitous to play g3. Let's check this out and see what the stats are. I doubt that it's been played very often. Only 8 games, and g3 looks like a new move. Just a quick check on that. g3. It looks ugly, doesn't it? Something's happened here. Window, panes, notation. There we are. I must have clicked the wrong button. You sure he played G3?
Yeah. And then knight F6.
G3, so ugly, no games. So that's a new move, but that doesn't really come as too much of a surprise, does it?
Okay. G3, knight F6.
Just can't believe Ravi played that. It's kind of not in his style. Are you sure he did that? It's not a misprint.
Oh, I can see it clearly there. Here.
Okay, well, that looks a bit fishy. Yeah, but you're opening up your king. Gosh, I mean, you know, don't you care about your poor king?
Well, I think, you know.
I mean, I don't know. Can I go caveman here? What's wrong with this move? Try and blow you away. He is asking for it. Yeah. Looks like he's praying for it when he plays G3, not asking for it. Is that so bad? That's the sort of thing they do in the Sicilian when you play
I think
that.
you should play knight F6 and wait for this to go, because black's main problem is the bishop on C1, isn't it?
White, you mean?
White's main problem is the bishop on C1. And after knight F6.
Is that what Hawkins played?
Yeah.
Right.
And then now F4 suggested.
He played F4. He's asking to get taken apart here, isn't he?
Yeah, F4.
Okay, I'll tell you what, we go back here, right? I'm just going to stick the computer on. Will it recommend H5? No. Why not? Let's see what happens here. Oh, it starts like white after rook E1 or knight F3. Sorry. I didn't G3. Sorry, hang on. Let's get this right. Castles, queen C7, G3. Still doesn't like H5. Why not? For no reason. All right, okay, so he went knight F6, and now?
And now he played F4.
Oh dear, look at this.
E5.
E5 by black?
Yeah.
Okay.
F takes E5, bishop takes E5. And now E takes D5. And white is hoping that White's hoping that, you know, hopefully this is going to just allow him to play knight F3 and get the bishop out normally. And
Competition time, is it?
yes, it's a competition move.
Can I just see it, please? Okay, people near the door, they will be considered last. They've just come in. No, okay, so what did black play? Right, yes, please. Bishop D4 check. I'm afraid that is incorrect. Yes, please. Bishop takes G3. Somebody had to suggest that, didn't they? That's also incorrect, but it might be worth dwelling on why.
Bishop takes G3.
Apart from the fact that maybe Harry would be happy with a draw. Now, obviously, White's got other moves apart from taking the bishop. For instance, he can go Queen E2 check, can't he? And then if Bishop E5, Knight F3, we're going to win that bishop anyway. Hang on a sec.
So,
well, I think it probably is Queen E2 check, isn't it? And then I can take the bishop. I will win that bishop. That's probably the answer. So it wasn't that. Yes, sir?
Bishop H3.
Bishop H3. Okay, please explain.
We could take G3 next check. This is the
Well, I probably, let's say he plays rook E1, just let's say. Is there any way you can finish me off, or? Oh, I've seen something for black.
Queen B6 check.
Queen B6 check, King H1, and now how about that? Did that win? Comes pretty close, doesn't it? Then you've got to consider crazy variations like this.
94.
Pardon?
94.
94, yes, possible. Now we take that. Bishop F1. Why can't I take that and take the knight? There's something wrong with that. Yes. It's all very hair-raising, isn't it? So Bishop H3. Okay, he is. I mean, that looks logical, doesn't it? Get a new piece into the game, force White to think about the shaky nature of his king. Of course, if Black had castled as well, it would be really nasty for White. So what did White do? Rook E1?
Bishop H3, Rook E1,
yeah,
and he just castled.
Right. Short, I presume.
Yeah.
All right. So
he's saying now I'm threatening Bishop into G3.
Yeah, plus the check and Knight G4, right?
Yeah. And I think if you click the engine now, it probably stays Black is winning, isn't it?
Well, I mean, if he is winning, then it's all the fault of this horrible move G3 followed by F4. I mean, that looks suicidal, doesn't it? And also not in Ravi's style. I don't understand this. He's normally so solid.
This young chap won the competition.
Who? Yeah, he's won the competition. Yeah, I was coming to that in a minute, though. That's all right. Well, does anybody see anything for White here? It looks so attractive for Black, doesn't it? Well done, by the way. Congratulations. Would you like to give him a round of applause? Let's go. Very talented player, medal winner in the European Schools Championship just finished. What medal was it? Second, silver medal in the. So let's give him a special round of applause for that. So he's a tremendous prospect. Whether reading one of these books will enhance his future prospects is open to doubt. But anyway, you're welcome to take one. Anybody see a defence for White? Let's see what the engine says as Ravi orders. No, Knight C4 equal. Anything else, not good. So all right, Knight C4 stops Queen B6 check, hits the bishop.
So what about Bishop into G3 now?
Bishop G3. Is he going to go with this crazy move D6? Is that the idea?
Oh, I see a cheapo now. Bishop D6, Knight D6, Queen D6, Bishop H7. Cheapo country all around.
Thanks. I was wondering when you point that out.
Can we just show the audience the cheapo? Bishop D6.
All right, if you must.
Queen takes D6 and then Bishop H7.
Bang. So doesn't D6 break up the idea?
Yeah. So I think that Knight C4 is
well, now
it's an interesting move, but I think he probably will play Bishop D4 check.
Yeah, King must go into the. Oh no, maybe he can play Bishop E3 here.
Yeah, Bishop E3. Isn't he getting some slight edge after Bishop E3? Can't he just play Bishop into E3, then Knight into E3, and then CD5? So, I mean, he hasn't gambited anything, but he's got a very nice position with a lot of weaknesses around, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think this is unpleasant for White because of the weakness of his king.
Yeah, I mean, Black's rook are going to engage very quickly into open files, and
yeah, that's right.
so.
It looks like Knight C4 is the only move, actually, doesn't it? In view of Black's many threats. So Knight C4, check. I can't believe that King H1 is better because Black just takes on D5. So he's got to go there.
Bishop E3.
And we just chop it off.
Yeah.
Rook takes doesn't make any special difference.
Yeah, and then CD5.
And this position looks nice for Black.
Yeah. You've got diagonal weaknesses, you've got weaknesses on the open file, you've got weakness along the E file, 5 points each, but comparative of Bishop on D3 doing nothing against Bishop on H3, Knight on F6 can get to good squares.
Bishop F5, yeah. Bishop F5, well, I can win a pawn there. Is that failing all else? I'll see what happens when I win a pawn. I don't know whether it's any good, but I'll win the pawn. Or will I win the pawn? Queen d4. All right, got to be a bit more careful. So bishop f5. Do I have to take that? Probably yes. Now I need a good move.
He's threatening knight e7 check.
Well, rook e8.
And then queen d4.
The queen d4. At least c.
Sorry, instead of playing rook f8, can I just play queen c5 check, which then forces him to. He can't play queen d4 because queen in c2 picks up the knight, and if you play knight d4, then knight d4.
And the point of this after. Well, say I play knight here.
Yeah, and then if you play knight d4, and then I play rook b8 first.
Rook b8, yeah, okay.
I mean, this is kind of a slight edge, isn't it? It's kind of a slight edge for black in this kind of position.
Because white hasn't really got an easy move here, has he?
Yeah. Yeah, rook b1 is knight e4.
If we can't play queen d4, then knight d4, allowing queen c2. Looks like knight e7 check. What do you want first?
The knight's on free, unfortunately. Check, you've got to give check first.
Knight e7 check, king h8.
Yeah.
Rook.
Knight h6.
And the queen has nowhere to escape after rook ac1. Where is he going?
I don't know, you put it there. Okay, there we are. Well, there we are. What about that? So, is this a position?
Yeah.
So, what actually happened?
He didn't play knight c4 yet.
Okay.
But knight c4, I think he has to go bishop d4 check, bishop e3, bishop e3, knight e3, cd4, and possible bishop f5 is, yeah, I think that kind of solves the little bit.
It looks excellent for black, but in fact, with that ingenious move, white manages to exchange off black's attackers.
Instead of castles, was there any other before?
Well, let's not go back to that because let's just concentrate on what actually has happened because we've got several other games to cover. Yeah, knight c4 seems to keep white on the board. So that's it. He hasn't done anything else. Right, so this is a critical position coming up, and white should probably play knight c4. All right, so let's go back to Howe versus Jackson. Now, for those of you just coming in, it looked like it was going to be a fairly standard opening. For instance, that's just a Catalan, or could be a Tarash. And Howe was the first to get it off the beaten track slightly by playing takes on c5 and a3. Very respectable. Now Jackson obliges by playing knight e4. And we reached a position which we thought was better for white. But Howe now had to decide whether he was going to play b4 or not. So what did he do? Move 11.
He played rook d1.
He didn't play b4.
No, rook d1, rook d8.
Well, we were looking at the move a5, and then rook d1 was probably the best move after that.
Rook d8.
So castles, rook d1.
Yeah, rook d8.
Rook d8, yes.
And now b4, chasing the bishop
All
away.
right, bishop e7.
And then bishop b2 getting onto the good diagonal.
Bishop b2.
Bishop f6.
Yes.
Bishop takes f6, knight takes f6.
Okay, is that
And then knight
forced to play?
c3.
Hang on a minute. So takes, and now knight c3.
Yeah, and I think what he's saying, as far as the game is concerned, you have a bishop problem, bishop on c8. How are you going to get the bishop out on c8? And dc4 is definitely not playable.
It's not playable.
Yeah,
That's the move I was thinking of, I have to admit.
but d takes c4 is rook takes d8 check.
Okay, queen takes.
Rook d1 again.
Yeah, queen e7. Okay.
Queen e7 and then knight b5. You have this perennial problem of d6 hanging in. Your bishop on c8 and rook on a8 hasn't come out.
Well, hang on, I don't think it's that bad, is it? Okay, what if I play e5?
Queen takes c4.
Queen takes c4, then some move with the bishop. What? Or bishop e6. What about? Oh, is that so bad? Why is it so bad?
Oh, d takes c4 is knight d2. Sorry,
Is this the game?
it didn't play, but knight d2 is one of the moves. I think it's quite
Knight
Quite.
d2.
tricky.
Yeah, this looks better, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like a Catalan-like position where White's bishop is exerting a serious influence over the queen side.
And I think that
I want to get that bishop out. How do I do it? Could I play e5? Is that so terrible?
e5, knight c4.
And then move the queen somewhere. Oh, it's going to be bad, isn't it? It's just going to be bad. Black's never going to get to develop his pieces. No, can't do that. Yep, Black's got the usual Catalan problem of the queen side stuck in there. So Jackson's got to find a good move. What did he do?
He hasn't played any move yet.
Yeah.
If we can.
Well, it's just very difficult for Black, isn't it? And let's say I sack a pawn just to get my pieces out, right?
For bishop d7.
Yeah, fine, okay, whatever.
Okay, I gotta play cd.
Yeah, then take it.
Knight into d5.
Yeah,
Rook takes d5.
takes d5. Probably got to go here.
Yeah.
Take this.
Yeah, take and play knight d, rook d1. It should be better here with one extra pawn. Oh, sorry, can I not play rook d1? Can I play the knight g5, g4, which just destroys you completely?
There's no reason why Black should have any compensation for the pawn whatsoever. Well, Black could have some problems. I mean, I think he may have to take on c4 and bite the bullet here. But it doesn't look equal at all. Knight d2, I do like your move, knight d2 actually. Anybody see a way? So we missed something there? It just looks like a very good Catalan where White's going to take on c4 and then have big pressure against the queen side.
And the time on the clock, after just 15 moves, is Howell is down to 44 minutes, and Black has one hour, so it's about 15-minute difference. But I think Black has got a lot of problems to solve.
Okay, let me try one more thing. Right, you've played knight d2. Let me go knight e5. I don't like this, but let's see if I can survive this. Now, I want to play bishop d7. Okay, you have to do something now. What do you want to
What
do?
about knight a4 now?
Knight a4. Okay, what does that do actually? Queen c7. I think that just improves my position. I don't know, is it so easy for White to do something here? It doesn't look that easy. Don't see any immediate way of exploiting that move.
So maybe I think,
Okay, I think Black's got to take on c4 and hope for the best.
yeah. So should we be playing rook takes d8 now first,
Rook takes d8, yes, you can do that. All right, well, I'll take the queen.
and then rook d1 back again?
Okay, then put the queen on e7.
Yeah.
So try and play e5 and get the bishop out. And now you need a good move.
You threatening e?
I'm probably going to just want to play e5. I don't say it's a threat.
And bishop f1 isn't great, is it?
Well, you don't want to do that here.
So I think he has got to play d c4 in that position.
Just verify this. Quick look. DC4 minus 1.5. It doesn't like those moves. Doesn't really like any move from black.
So what does the mission play against?
Well, it's going Queen C7 or A6, but they both look a bit crummy.
No, but what does it play for white after DC4?
After DC4, it plays Knight D2, Knight E5, Knight takes C4, which we didn't see. Knight takes C4, Knight A4.
And then overloaded on. Yeah.
And the overload is very apparent. Whether he takes on D1 or not, we can go here. That's the point. Nice idea, though.
Yeah.
Just highlights, you know, how far black behind is in development, and that matters. And of course, how we'll see this. So no wonder Jackson's thinking. I think he has some serious problems. We'll see what it suggests. Queen C7 or A6. Well, let's give Queen C7 a go.
Well, I think he's just played DC4 now.
He's played that move.
Yeah.
Okay. And now Knight D2.
That's a powerless thinking now, but
All right. Well, he has a tendency to think at length. So let's move to Rudd versus Pert. Now, this was quite interesting because they seem to be playing a very regular opening. This is for people who have just come in. As you can see, this has been played loads of times in high-level chess. Then Rudd played his favourite move, B3. We immediately find there's only one game with this variation. So this is home cooking from Jack Rudd. And he'd lost a game to Ian Thompson in 2010 using this line.
yeah.
And then Pert started to play rather slowly. White's pushing a lot of pawns, but what's black doing? So we got a position in the game where white seems to have established an excellent game after Bishop D3, Knight D7.
Yeah, and there's only one more move.
Bishop D3, did black play Knight D7?
He played Knight D7.
Okay.
And then now Queen G4.
Yeah, Queen G4, there we
Bishop
are.
F8.
Bishop F8, yeah.
Yeah, and then black has 25 minutes left on the clock for 21 moves at least, and Jack has an hour and 20 minutes, you know. So I think...
I have to tell you, I don't like black's game very much.
Yeah.
But maybe he's going to go Knight C5 and put a knight on E4.
Yeah, but the problem here is that, you know, white can't play B4. And I think that when the knight comes to C5, Bishop C2, Knight E4, possibly he has to do something with that thing. Is Jack now thinking sacrifice on E6? Is that what he's thinking?
Well, I think he's thinking castles.
So can he play knight into E6? I mean, just for...
Well, he can, but why don't I just develop my pieces and then try
No,
and
but I
make
mean,
you
just-
castle?
Okay, no, castle is knight C5,
Knight C5, okay, Bishop C2.
then knight E4.
Then I take it and I go F5.
Yeah.
No point in mucking around here.
Yep. And
And surely black's going to get blasted here, isn't he?
yeah. So the thing is, Jack is thinking here, and so it's knight D6 nothing. Is it knight D6, F6, queen and D6 check?
Knight E6 looks fishy.
But if you go king D8, bishop G6 can cost.
Is that such a big deal?
Can cause some issues.
Really? Does that cause any issues? It certainly causes some issues for white, that's for sure.
Okay. So we've got knight F6, okay.
Well, maybe you can go Queen F7, I don't know. Is Jack thinking?
Yeah, Jack is thinking, and
That's
I
probably
feel-
what he's thinking about.
And you know, he's not the kind of player who will sit and find a good move, but in the sense that he might be very spontaneous in doing some sack.
Well, let's look at this. So takes, and now if I block with the bishop, Okay,
Queen G6 check, and then
Queen G6 check, King
Yeah.
F8.
yeah. No, it's sack is just too early. I think he's going to just castle now.
Surely just castles. What's wrong
Yeah.
with that? It's just Rook AE1 and F5. I mean, that's just normal chess.
Yeah.
What's complicated about that?
Well, he's thinking, and he's got 1 hour and 28 minutes.
I mean, if you think about it, what is Black's way behind in development suddenly? He was ahead in development early in the game. Now he seems to have put all his pieces back where they came from.
And the thing is about this website, which is updating, it's showing that Black is thinking now. So it must be a move that we haven't seen.
That's,
There must be a move played by Jack, and the black clock is running and the white clock is there. So I have a feeling there's something.
okay, what can we please have a move? Anybody see a move for Black here? My plan is very simple: Rook AE1 and F5. That's it. Nothing complicated. With Knight E6 always on the cards. I think probably he has to play that, yes?
I think he must have made a move because the black clock is running.
I mean, F5 is definitely a threat right away. I just don't see what Black does. Black could be wiped out. Could check with the old engine. +1 point, yeah, it's a big advantage to White. Bishop D7. I'm a bit curious to see why it doesn't recommend F5. Something wrong with that? Well, Bishop D7, F5, castles on the queen side. It's probably got to try something like this.
Well, you see that, I think castle and then Knight C5, Bishop C2, Bishop D7. Can you play just Rook AE1 and ruthlessly F5 anyway?
Well, Rook AE1, Black's going to castle anyway, willy-nilly, isn't he? He's got to get his king out of there. And now, in view of the weakness of this pawn, I just don't see what's wrong with F5. Just blast through, you know? What's the problem? Black hasn't got many moves, has he? Okay, can continue shunting his king. We may even be able to go there.
But can I stop Black from castling queen side?
Well, only if you sack.
No, what I'm saying is I'm going to castle.
Isn't White's position too good to sacrifice?
No,
unless it wins,
no, I'm not saying not sacrifice, but I'm thinking of Knight C5, Bishop C2.
Castles, Knight C5, Bishop C2, okay.
And Bishop D7.
Yeah.
And now play A4.
A4, didn't think about that. And the point is to just give yourself options on the queen side.
Yeah, I keep my options on the queen side. I've castled my king. He can't castle after A4. If he takes, I'm going to play B4.
Well, he's got to come in there now.
Yeah, he's got to come in, and then and now, you know, the problem that he has is that
I'm sure I've got a number of interesting moves here. To me, F5 looks right.
yeah, just crash in now because
It's open up the game.
Yeah,
It's going to be very difficult for Black to castle queenside now, so for sure, isn't it? I mean, okay, take on E5, but I mean, the attacking chances.
I mean, I think there's something wrong with the website because Black's clock has now gone down to 19 minutes. So there must be a move. I think.
Sorry?
So lots of moves.
Lots of moves played. Right, well, what's happened, do you know?
I don't know what those
Oh, we suddenly got a lot of moves
are.
now.
Black's castle.
Okay, we've got a lot of moves, all right, so it's caught up.
Okay, we just got the update now on the website.
So what happened?
So he castled.
Queenside? No, Jack?
No, castle, not white castle.
Yes?
He played Knight C5,
Oh, we got it right. How about that?
Bishop C2,
Yeah.
Bishop D7,
Very good. It's good stuff.
and
This is good
Jack
stuff.
presses in with F5, which is what I
Jack.
like.
Moves in with F5, our main line.
Long castle,
Look at this.
A4, B takes A4 and B4, and then Knight E4, And then now fe6, bishop times a4, queen times.
And let's slow down a second.
So he played fe6, and now
Yeah.
bishop takes a4.
Yes, okay,
And
that makes a
then-
lot of sense.
And then black played queen into e5, bishop into d7, rook into d7, queen e2.
Queen e2.
Yeah. So it's going after a6, which is undefendable. There's a pin on the line, but
I mean, I presume c4 is going to become a threat in a minute
Yeah.
as well.
I think that if black plays bishop d6, he's going to play queen a6 check, and then knight f3, which protects everything. So you got to be careful about that h2 point of thing. And if black can't play, if black plays rook a7, you've got knight c6 as well. But I think the only move is now bishop d6.
Why isn't white just killing black here? Bishop d6 looks like the only move, yeah?
Yeah, queen into a6 check. You
Well,
don't have.
okay,
have,
why not? Okay, why not? I've got knight f3. When I've got knight f3, okay. What do you want to do?
So what does the engine say now?
I don't know about the engine. Let's just use our 1 horsepower engine. What does he do here, black?
He's got to go.
You can't play king d8, knight c6 wins immediately, nor king b8. So he's got to play rook b7. And now there's got to be something strong here.
Queen.
Queen a8 looks very dangerous indeed.
On f2, f7.
I could
Rook
put
f7.
no, rook f7, queen h2. I don't want to do that.
King f1.
Yeah, queen h1. He gets g2 with check.
King e2. Queen into g2 check. King d3. Queen d2 mate.
That would not be very desirable from white's
Okay.
point of view.
So I think queen.
Queen a8 check looks fine.
Bishop d6. Queen a6 check. Rook b7.
This is the game.
No, we're thinking that's what is going to happen. So can he now play
I like the gentle suggestion of queen a8 check.
queen a8 check? What's
got
the
to
problem with bishop b8?
Well, only that you're taking pieces out of the attack here.
What about queen c6? And then you've got the rook to as well.
Well, in this position, queen c6.
Yeah. And then rook to as well.
Yes, that's true.
And you've got knight to
So the only move is king b8 now.
King b8, start praying.
The problem is white has to stop with knight f3.
Okay, so he does play that. Come on. Okay, what now? You're a bit. The position is.
Yeah, kind of like white there.
It's really, she's pushing the boat out there.
But my point is for bishop d6, you can play queen a6 check.
Has he made a move yet, Nick?
Yes, I made a move.
He has
got
not.
14 minutes left.
Yeah, let's
Sorry,
just check
15
this out.
minutes left for this move.
Bishop d6, the engine gives. Queen takes a6. Rook b7, only move. And then knight f3, plus 1.5.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's
Which
the way. That's the way forward. Because
Coming forward to queen f4,
and then bishop c1.
and then bishop c1. Curious move. And if queen, say it's queen g3, just let's say queen c6 check, king b8, and now just rook a6. Sorry, rook a6. And just say there's no attack. Meanwhile, I'm threatening, I presume, am I threatening anything here? Rook b6 perhaps? Leaving him short of defenders, or maybe just bishop e3 and double up? Bishop e3 and double up, I presume, is the primary threat. So Jack doesn't need to rush, because black's only got one threat, whereas white seems to have a multitude of threats.
So my question there is that
It's giving rook
when-
a7 as the best
when
move.
black plays bishop d6, why can't they play knight f3? If there is no cheapos around, then that's kind of leaving your pieces in a much worse square. Bishop d6, knight f3.
Is that the
And if you
game?
play-
That's not the game, is it?
No, that's not the game, but I'm saying that is a possibility
It's
because
another possibility.
yeah, I can reserve the queen a6 check when I need to play, and then I just want to see if, now if he plays queen f4, bishop c1, I'm getting my bishop into play.
Isn't this going to transpose?
No, but can he play queen h5? That's the main problem.
Well, I presume that's going to give black less counterplay, isn't it? So now we come in with the same idea. So check.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Rook b7, check. Why can't he just do the same thing? Rook a6. King b8, okay. Well, at least he can play rook c8 in this variation.
I think we are giving the check a bit early.
I prefer giving the check straight away because why?
No, but I'm saying that in that position, you go back, put the queen back on e2 place, and then you take in queen h5, and you have no threat in that position. You got a bishop on d6, knight f3, and you play queen h5.
Well, surely the point is after check, right? What was he doing? Rook here,
Yeah.
knight here.
No, but I need to force queen h5 first.
Well, hang on. Okay, is there a refutation of this move?
But black has no threats now, isn't it? So
But yes, okay. So where's the winning continuation for white? I know black has no threats, but I still want to see
no,
something
I
from
prefer
white's
queen
perspective.
a8 check now.
Queen a8, okay, he's got to put the bishop in the
Winning
way.
the bishop as well.
And now rook a6. Looks a bit more like it.
So if he plays bishop d6,
I don't know, can black get away with this? Probably not. Can we get away with that?
There's also the other possibility, Andrew, is that you just don't give queen a6 check, play knight f3, and then knight f3.
Well, he hasn't played bishop d6 yet.
No,
The
I'm saying
computer
bishop
suggests
d6.
rook a7 is better, but anyway, bishop d6.
Yeah.
Knight f3, all right.
Knight f3, queen h5, and then now I want to play rook a6.
Rook a6.
Which is threatening rook a8 check and winning.
Okay, well,
so he's got a different
knight
against
g3 is completely hopeless, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, show me the win.
Knight g3, rook a8 check.
Yeah.
Point is queen a6 is coming in as well.
King c7. Ah, you can sack the rook, can't you? What does black play here? What does white play? He plays rook a7 check. Is that right?
King b8.
No, king b8. We've got queen b5 check, haven't we?
Yeah. Rook a7 check, king c8. Rook a7 check is king d8.
King d8.
Yeah. And then rook d7, king d7 is okay. So I think he's got to play queen a6 now.
Any more moves?
No.
So Pert's getting very short of time. Not really surprising, is it? Okay, my feeling is, of course, that white is winning this position. Black should be in serious trouble if Jack finds the right continuation. He doesn't rush it and just throw it all away. So looks very good for Rudd. Whether black plays rook a7 or bishop d6. Interesting. So Hebden versus Brown.
After
when we left this, we thought black was doing fine.
Yeah, knight b4 and
11 knight b4.
Bishop e2 was played.
Yeah.
f5 was played.
Okay.
Bishop f3 was played.
Yes.
b6 was played.
Hang on. All right. Hang on a minute. Not so fast.
Castle.
Yes, we've got it all. Bishop a6 now.
Bishop a6.
That was played.
Yeah.
Oh, quality stuff.
Queen b3.
Queen b3.
Rook to b7.
Okay, hang on. Rook b7. That's the first clumsy-looking move.
Yeah. I was going to put the rook on d7 anyway, so he needs that.
Rook d7.
Rook
Okay.
f d1,
Yes.
rook d7,
Yes.
and now knight b5,
Okay.
bishop takes b5 played.
Okay. A takes b5.
A takes b5 played, and that's the question now. And I kind of feel that bishop b5 was unnecessary.
Well, first, the first and obvious question is: can Black take on e5, d5? I mean, he's got 3 pieces on it, so let's see. What do you do? I mean, obviously.
Knight d5 played actually. Knight d5 played.
Okay, so White can chop that and chop on a7, can't you? That's the idea, is it? To get some better endgame. But then I've got bishop takes b2 at the end of that continuation, which is quite an interesting little tactic.
So knight d5 played.
So if he takes this, takes this, takes this, takes this, takes this, can I do this? I don't see any reason why not.
Yeah.
Unless he can go, no, okay, so that will keep Black a pawn up, although it's quite an insignificant pawn.
And
On the other.
just to let you know, is that Black has about 6 minutes left on the clock, and Hebden won over 19 minutes.
Well, okay, so probably Hebden won't force the pace, will he? But okay, Black, he takes the pawn. I mean, that must be critical, mustn't it? Can anybody see anything here which is one of the things I can see that Black might slightly fear is a move like knight e5. And after takes, go bishop takes here, and then White plays on a pawn down. But he shouldn't really lose this, I don't think. But I mean, White can never win such a position, can he? For instance, I mean, if we just start with Queen e7, as safe as houses, just King g7, put the rooks, double the rooks, h5, h4, you never know. I mean, Black can still play. Queen f6 as well, you might, yes. As long as bishop f7 doesn't work, I'm very pleased with that move, yes, why not? Anyway, the point is White's never going to win, is he? So, okay, Black should take this pawn, I think. So this is the game, right?
Yeah, still Hebden thinking.
No, Brown thinking, surely.
Knight d5 played.
Ah, okay.
Hebden is thinking, and if we quickly go to the next game, Ravi Haria played that knight c4.
Just a sec, let's just check it one more time on this position. g3 equal. Bishop takes d5, chop everything off. Rook takes a7, and curiously it doesn't give bishop takes b2. So let's just check this one more time. So takes, 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 takes. He takes this, and now it gives f4 as the best move. So there's something wrong with that move. Extraordinarily, Queen c2, slightly better for White.
Because you're losing b6.
Ah. That's a sort of subtle trap which Hebden might set, you know. Let the guy play bishop takes b2 and he suddenly finds that Queen c2 is good for White. So what should Black do? He shouldn't take on b2, he should go f4 straight away. Yeah. Which if he's short of time is actually very difficult to find. Just breaking open White's pawn structure. And if Queen c2, we go rook d8 threatening mate. And if he takes this pawn, just rook e8, which drives White backwards, breaks up the bind.
So that's why Hebden hasn't done anything, and then he's just played g3 now.
Which is the best move according to the computer. So
Right.
where was it in? It was knight takes d5, just g3.
Yeah.
Okay, cunning stuff.
And the point is, if the knight now goes to b4, Black is a pawn up, but white's pieces are quite nicely placed, aren't they? And black played h5, which is
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
going after the king, and still 4 minutes left for black, 4 minutes 52 seconds for another 21 moves, and this is poised for
Well,
it.
white's got a bit of a bind, hasn't he? That's the thing. I don't think black's worse, but there are some tricks here. For instance, when black moves the knight, rook takes a7 is a possibility for white, isn't it? That knight on c4 is very strong too. So that's the position of the game.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to Harrier versus
Yeah.
Hawkins. So he did go knight c4.
You did go knight c4.
Okay, we thought that was the only move.
And then bishop d4 check.
Okay, bishop e3.
Bishop e3, bishop e3, knight e3.
Yes.
C d5.
Now we
Bishop
thought
f5.
bishop f5 in this position.
Everything played as we said here.
Okay.
Knight f5, and the only thing is he didn't do queen c5 check immediately. He played rook a b8.
Rook a b8.
Yeah, inducing that weakness on b2. And then when b3 came, he played queen c5 check.
Now when b3 comes, of course,
Then
white can't reinforce d4. With
Yeah, you haven't trapped that. So he plays queen c5 check,
Yeah.
king g2, black is thinking.
Okay.
So I can see a lot of weakness, you know, on the e3 square.
I mean, rook f8 looks like the right move, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
I think what's wrong with g6 now? Well, I mean, what's wrong with g6 technically? I'm saying.
I mean, knight e4 must also be a move, mustn't it? And just try and get the queen in. What does he do about that?
Queen d4 or queen d4.
Knight d4.
Queen d4. Yeah, queen d4 is queen d4 is quite a good move, isn't it?
Yeah. And
You also got to watch out for queen takes d5, but not
yeah,
quite yet.
and I think that's why g6 is necessary. And then if he still goes queen d4, you have queen into c2 check.
So is there something wrong with rook e8, rook f8, let's say?
I mean, shouldn't we get rid of that knight on f5, which is the key thing, isn't it? I mean, so that's my motivation playing g6. And if he plays knight at 6 check, king g7, I'm sure.
Queen d4.
Queen d4 now is queen c2 check. That's my.
Yeah.
So I think g6, then the knight has to go back to d4. And then your move knight d4 is much more effective.
Yeah, you might be right. Good idea.
So it's all nicely developing into a good thing. And black is thinking, and white has come down to 20 minutes, and black has 1 hour and 1 minute, and he just played rook f8. He said,
You play
I'm
rook f8.
not interested in anything. You anyway can't play queen d4. I'm getting one more of my piece into play.
That is the game.
Yeah. And he's threatening now rook takes e1 and queen takes e2 check. So
It's very natural, isn't it? Just bringing the last piece into the game. I mean, I don't know. I quite liked your move, though. I have to say. I quite like that. Forcing the knight backwards. And if knight d4, you can't preserve that knight on d4, can you? For instance, so rook b4, is that a move? That forces the knight to move again, doesn't it?
no, but rook f8 is probably much better because then there's no weakness, you see.
What's happened to the webcam, by the way? It just disappeared off the face of the earth. Oh, there it is. Must have pressed the wrong button. Well, anyway, he didn't do that. He played rook f8 as a common sense move.
Yeah.
So, what will white do? The move that comes to my mind straight away is queen to d3. I suppose black might be a little bit better here, but he's got to keep his pieces active.
Rook e4.
Rook e4 is another possibility, yes. But of course, white's got to make a move. If say Queen d3, you mean?
Yeah.
And now put the rook in. Yeah, that's very sensible. Yeah. Of course, he can't take that because the pawn takes, and you're uncovering an attack against the queen, the knight, and c2. White queen's overloaded. Yeah. Okay. I imagine white will be able to hold this with some. Yes, queen to d2, something like that. Okay, so rook e8, and the pressure's still on Ravi slightly to find good moves. All right, we're going to take our afternoon break at 5 o'clock, which is about 10 minutes' time. So let's quickly review what we have in the rest of the game. So back to Howell Jackson, and we thought that black was in trouble. He's just taken on c4, and we were expecting knight to d2. Move 16 white.
16 was d takes c4 and knight d2.
Yep.
Knight d5.
Okay.
Knight takes c4.
Yes.
Knight takes c4. Knight a4.
Knight, hang on it. Knight takes c4. Knight takes c4. Knight a4. Yes.
Rook d1. Rook d1.
Rook d1.
Rook takes d1.
Yes.
Queen c7.
Queen takes c4. Has to be.
Queen c7. I think queen takes e4.
Yep.
And then possibly he's going to play something like queen e7.
Yes, but now we have a tremendous position for white, don't we? Where black is really toiling. He's got to play queen e7.
Queen e7, there's queen c5 as well, which is winning, isn't it?
Well, it certainly looks very promising, doesn't it? I mean, white seems to have everything he could possibly want from a Catalan-like position. You've got this fabulous bishop. Black's queen side is move-bound, really.
So we expect queen c4 and black having a lot of problems with developing his pieces. Bishop on c8 stuck out. Rook on a8 not able to get in. White knight coming into c5. I expect quite a bit of trouble in that game.
So queen c5, is that the move?
Yeah.
Then he has to drop back with queen e8. And now, at the very least, you could go queen c7, couldn't you? Or
No,
could you?
then you have bishop b7. And then I play bishop b7 and knight c5. So it's all
You
quite
can't take this, by the way, can you? Let's have a look at this. That's over, isn't it? So that is not really surprising. So queen c7, queen e8, queen c7. Has black got any moves at all here?
no more moves.
Bishop d7.
Would you play queen f8 instead?
When?
Instead of playing queen e8,
King
king f8.
f8.
Yeah, so you can play knight e8.
Rook here. I can force you straight away.
Play knight e8.
Oh dear.
Well, why can't I just take this guy? That's it, yeah.
But the other line didn't look very good.
This looks bad tonight. It must be said.
You said it's very good move.
Well,
Not very good.
I mean, look at the position. You know, it can't be very good for black, whatever white plays, as long as he's, you know, careful, because black's development's so difficult to complete.
And
I think Howell's going to win this, Ravi. Don't you think so?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
You've got all the right, settings there where black is having a problem. I think the only thing I'm thinking now is
I mean, even if I play knight c5 in this position, I think queen c5 is better, but
queen
knight c5.
c5, queen f8. What happens to queen f8?
Queen c5, queen f8. Well, now I've got the c7 square under control. Just come in. Thank you very much.
Knight d5.
Knight d5.
This is what that, Petrosian offered to Kasparov, isn't it?
All right, with the removal may arrive.
Yeah, take
Okay.
bishop e6.
You might have to try something like this. Yeah, not so clear. Very resourceful, Ravi.
Yeah, I think queen c5, queen f8. I think you shouldn't play queen c7. I think his next move is bishop b7.
Well, even if I take this, right? Even if I take this and go knight
I
c5.
don't like that, you know.
What are you playing in this position?
Yeah, king e7.
Well, I'll just take on b7, pawn up.
And if I play
Slow grind.
rook b8,
Rook b8. Well, I mean, what are you doing here? Just
that's just trying king e7 now.
move the rook somewhere. This is not very nice, is it?
No.
Could you take your B7 as well? So you look.
Possibly, yeah, possibly knight takes b7, but then he can go maybe.
So the bishop's in.
Yeah.
That's also strong. Rook takes. Rook takes. Horrible.
Yeah. I mean, all kind of things is available.
But when you think about it, if you know, black deserves to be punished in a way, because I mean, look at his position; he hasn't got his pieces out.
Yeah. So he has in fact played queen and c4 in the game, and then he's also black has played queen 7. I was thinking.
Yeah. So we expect queen c5, but don't be surprised if he can play something else, which is better.
I mean, the other move that comes to my mind is knight c5. You can't play b6. You can't play bishop b7 because of.
Well, I mean, queen d4 must also be a move, mustn't it?
Yeah, but I like
What do
knight
you do
c5.
after queen d4?
No, knight c5, bishop d7, or knight into d7, knight into d7, queen c7, rook d8. You're in some triple horrible thing there.
Yeah, okay, white's got numerous moves. Right, we'll come back to that in a minute. Rudd Pert, this was exciting. Looked like Nick Pert was going down.
I think that there's no moves made, and it now shows 5 minutes left for
Nick Pert.
Nick Pert, unless someone has come from Toronto, you know, this website, this has not updated and it's now down to 5 minutes.
Is it over?
No, it's not.
Do you know what happened? Don't guess unless you know.
Bishop d6.
Yeah.
I didn't actually see it.
Okay, well then don't worry. We'll catch up after the break. So anyway, no more moves, but you can see what is happening. So let's have a quick review going into the break. Afternoon break coming up. In this game, black is really struggling. We expect Howe to win, and now he seems to have a nice choice: queen c5, queen d4, knight c5. All of these moves are good for white. This one could be very exciting. Might be worth going to take a look. It looks as though Nick Pert's going down. Rudd played a very interesting opening where he seemed to just push pawns, and then Pert reacted very slowly, and he's got into a bit of a mess. Hebner v Brown, any more moves? H5, move 20 white.
H5, H4.
H4, wow. That must encourage black a little bit.
And then bishop f6.
Okay.
Bishop f6, no more moves after that.
I'm not sure about that move H4.
Yeah.
That seems to give black extra chances somehow.
Yeah.
It should be pointed out that if black moves this knight at some point, rook takes a7 is a possibility for white. That's something to be considered.
Yeah.
So that's that one. Well, with black a pawn up, you would tend to think that he wouldn't be in any danger of losing. In fact, let's just have a look at this. Could he have gone knight b4 here?
And
Then he goes rook a7, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
We can take that. He takes two, then he gets 2 rooks. What happens there? 2 rooks with a queen.
I don't think he needs to play knight b4 straight away. He
Played bishop f6.
He played bishop f6, which is connecting more pieces.
I just wonder how Hebden views this position.
And there's been a couple more moves in the Ravi Haria game.
All right. And this position looks unclear, but I don't think black's in any danger. And finally, Harrier versus Hebden.
Ravi Haria is
Hawkins.
he played rook f8,
Yes.
and then he played queen d2.
Okay.
In came knight d4,
Yes.
queen d4, threatening checkmate, and there queen takes c2 check. And the thing is that where is the king going? The king goes to h3 is knight f2, king goes to f1 is knight d2, and king goes to
Well, he's going to
h1.
go to G1, isn't he?
Wherever it goes, there's a knight f2 check and queen f5, so it's very...
No, King G1. What's wrong with that?
So king g1, and I think,
Is he going to just go knight f6?
yeah, he has to play knight f6 now, otherwise the queen c3, the cheaper rook e4 works. Can we show them that queen c3 is rook into e4?
Queen c3, rook e4. Yes. I mean, Hawkins will certainly play knight
Yeah,
f6.
and Ravi Hari has played king g1.
Yeah.
And we can now expect black playing knight f6 back and just going for a very simple win.
I don't understand. So has White made a blunder here?
Yeah, he just lost. And also the other interesting move is that if you think you're playing queen c5, also that falls into rook e4. So you got to be careful about that, and you got to play knight f6 back.
Check King G1, knight f6.
H6 wasn't
You think this is an easy win for Black? I'm not so sure about that at all.
No, but black is ahead. I think that's what. I think that he's a pawn up.
Well, he's not a pawn up for long, is he? Check.
He has played knight f6 as I predicted. Knight e7 check. He's going to play king f8.
Well, but then can I take on c5? Is that possible?
Knight d5 is rook e d8. You're in
I
trouble.
think I can do this.
Rook e d8.
Rook e d8.
Yeah, and then I might just put my king on h8.
No, that's not going to work, is it? Just a second. There must be some way I can do this. Yeah, I was then certainly thinking about that.
Queen c5 check. Queen c5 check, no.
No, Queen c5 check. The Queen's on 3 there.
No, rook c1 first.
Rook c1. And now we get some complicated variations. So rook takes d5. We just take this now. And if he goes queen c1, queen d6 check. Yeah, that's good enough. So rook c1 seems to be very strong.
Yeah.
That wins for White, doesn't it? Boy, it doesn't lose for White. So why not knight e7? I don't understand. It looks okay to me.
Possibly the king is going to go to h8, and then you are in more trouble because you don't have the queen c5 check anyway.
All right, hang on a second. Let me have a look. No, I was thinking I could recuperate with a well-timed knight e3, right? For instance, I take this. Now, what do you do? Rook here, rook here?
Rook b to no, rook e to d8.
Rook e to d8. Well, then I do have knight e3, don't I? Sorry. Then I do have knight e3, don't I?
Yeah.
White seems to have escaped.
Yeah, but he didn't play knight e7. He played knight h6 check, and black is thinking.
Well, knight e7 check looks okay to me, but all right. So he played knight h6 check.
I think that if the pawn takes queen f6, he's hoping he'll get a draw there.
I don't trust
And
that
if
at
he played
all.
king f8, it's rook a c1, leading to some tricky finish. So the only move is gs6 now.
The thing is, after g takes h6, queen takes f6, White doesn't have a check, does he? So it gives Black a little bit of time, one move. Well, it gives him a tempo. Can he do anything with it?
So rook e6, now comes Wilson.
No. The problem is he can't play king f8 because of rook a c1. No, he can't. If he plays king f8, rook a c1, rook e1, rook e1. I think the blacks won struggle.
I think this game's most likely to end in a draw. I think black should probably go here, right? And now, well, then I was thinking takes, rook f1, queen e3 check. There's somehow that should be a draw, shouldn't it? Any more moves, Ravi, going into the break? Knight h6 check, he's thinking?
He's played king f8 straight away.
King f8, so he didn't like that variation. So you said after that, rook ac1.
Yeah, and then rook e1 check.
This is the game.
No, but I'm saying this is what he must be thinking.
Well, then it tends to suggest that is rook ec1 a move. If you're going to put it on c7, I guess black can play queen g6, can't he? And that could be the resource which Hawkins is banking on, because the knight is trapped. Queen c5 check. Okay, well we move our king.
No, you can't play king.
Oh, I can't play. Sorry, Jadu. Excuse me.
So rook ec1. He's got to play something like queen e4, and then queen c5 check, queen e7. So that's what rook ec1 is, queen e4, and queen c5
Queen
check.
e4.
And if you play queen a7, then
I've got to keep checking here.
and then queen e7.
Queen e7. Yeah. So in this position, if rook ac1, then he can take this rook off. Can we possibly get away with queen g6? No? Where's the mate then? The queen takes a7. Queen c5 mate. I keep on overlooking the knight on h6 is protecting g8, which is never helpful. I can't imagine the opponent's managed to get a knight on h6 and I haven't taken it. I think that's probably it. Yeah, that's black needs to find a good move here then. So would he play rook e8 and just sort of bail out?
So what's wrong with rook ac8?
And then queen b4 check again. I can't.
Hang on a minute. What's wrong with rook ac8?
When? Rook
No,
c8.
Rook b to c8. Yeah.
Queen b4 check. You
Queen c5
block.
check. Let's go to the end game.
Yeah, maybe that's the best move. All right, it's clear to me that I need a break, having overlooked the fact that I'm getting mated on numerous occasions. You know, this is always a clear sign to me that a break is needed. So that's it. We'll come back at 5:30. That's 20 minutes time, and we'll see you all then. Okay, so if you're watching online, thanks for watching. Back in 20 minutes. We will keep the video running, so don't be surprised if you just see a blank screen. Thanks very much.
We got to make sure no one is here.
Guys, can we vacate the room, please? There's a lot of people really sorry. Sorry about that. Right, okay. What, my place?
Don't know when.
Oh, back. Oh, who's that down in there? You need to keep it open.
No, that is.
Yeah. Are you going to keep it open? Because if it closes, it'll lock again. Because okay.
No more moves.
Okay. Nice combination. Well, we can restart the broadcast for all of you watching out there on the internet. Welcome back to the coverage of round 2. Of course, this is the first year where we're operating on a new ECF YouTube channel. So we very much hope you'll subscribe to that channel. I think we're trying to reach the milestone of 100 subscribers before the end of the tournament. It might be up to 55 or 60 at the moment. So if you can just subscribe to that channel, it would really help the cause. Now, we may have to recap certain things for the studio audience when they return in about 5 minutes' time. But we do have a result, I think, in the game between Ravi Harrier and Jonathan Hawkins.
Yep.
So let's see how this game finished, and I'll recap it when the studio audience comes back. So knight h6 check, king f8, was it?
Knight h6 check, king f8.
Yeah. And now we expected white to put a rook on c1.
So white took rook on to e1, e8 check, which I think is a mistake.
He took on e8.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems like a mistake, doesn't
yeah,
it?
which is, I think, is a mistake straight away, because you, instead of taking the open file, you just handed over that. So I mean, the
Did he expect that a check on b4 was going to foul black up?
Yeah, but you see, when you play rook c1, and then he plays rook into e1, and then rook into e1, okay, you effectively, you got the rook from a1 to e1, and now what's happened was you have to take on e8.
Do you think Ravi Harrier misplayed the move order there?
Absolutely.
Well, we thought black could play rook c8 in this position and carry on. Rook takes e8 just feels wrong somehow, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like
conceding the file.
It's like you are getting the rook on a1.
Is he hoping that queen b4 check is going to carry the day here? This move, rook takes e8, it just seems completely wrong.
Yeah, I mean, like, if I look at it, your best one is the rook on e1, and by taking on e8, you activated the rook on b8. You know, even however important you thought was.
I'm just trying to figure out what his idea is. Is it that when black takes with the rook, right?
Yeah, with the rook.
And he wants to play queen b4 check, yes.
Rook e7.
Rook e7, and now is his idea to play some weird move here?
He did play rook e1. Which
is his idea to play knight g8? Is that the idea?
Yeah, rook
e1, knight e4.
Yeah, black played knight e4, which is all.
Rook e1?
Yeah, knight e4.
Knight e4. I'm just trying to endeavour to work out what he overlooked. Now, does he think that he can get away with knight g8? Is that it?
Exactly what he played knight g8. And
okay, hang on a minute. So, right, so this is the idea. This is the idea. This is what enticed him to take on e8.
Yeah.
If you recall, this was the position at the break.
Okay, but he's missed something fantastic.
Well, hang on a sec. So let's fix. So this is his idea. Okay, so he's missed something fantastic. All right, let's just have a look at this.
Would anyone in the audience care to tell us what he missed?
No, they don't. Just let's try and figure it out. Is it really good?
I've seen the game, so I figured it out.
That's cheating.
Well, I mean, okay, king g8 is queen b8 check. Can I just tell you can't play king g8?
Well, why can't I go queen f2 check and knight takes g3 check and queen takes e1 check?
That's exactly what happened in the game. Queen f2 check, king h1.
Yep.
Then knight takes g3 check.
Discovered attack. But isn't that fairly simple to see?
Yeah. But I think that he lost his way when he did that. And then after knight g3, just resigned because h takes c3 is queen e1 check. Completely one end game for black.
So rook takes e8 was a serious blunder, wasn't it? Or at least it was a mistaken concept. Because he thought he was getting away with this trick. But in fact, he got tricked himself.
Yeah.
So he should have stuck with rook a c1.
Yeah.
Forcing black to take on e1, then white gains the file at least.
Yeah,
and now, well, rook c8. I mean, black's got some chances to win the game.
Yeah, but the point I'm making is that now you put the rook on c8, okay, So I have queen b4 check here, which could be very.
No, you said queen c5.
Queen b4 check.
Queen c5. Go to the end game with your words.
So should I just? I can't play knight f5. So I think this position is probably black has got adequate resources. Okay.
Well, not only that, he must have winning chances. I mean, if we put it up on the machine, then it will show hopefully the real. Yeah, -1.
I don't know if some of you guys went in and saw. I mean, I have no more moves in Jack Rudd against.
Well, there have been a lot of moves played.
Yeah, but this is not updated itself completely. Sorry about that.
So just to recap what has happened in Harrier versus Hawkins, Black has won. It was probably as a result of a mistaken concept by Harrier. Harrier took on e8, giving Black the file. He thought he was going to play queen b4 check and then pin, but knight e4 check set up threats of Black's own, and now White plays his trick, knight g8. Very cute move, but unfortunately it loses to queen f2 check, and then the discovered attack against the rook on e1, winning immediately. So Ravi resigned. He should have tried to be obdurate here and just played rook ac1 and forced the capture on e1. So that's one game down. Hawkins probably breathed a sigh of relief.
Yeah.
Because Ravi could have taken him into the endgame.
Yeah.
Now back to Howe versus Jackson, who bought one game. Queen c5, I think, was played, wasn't it? 21 queen c5.
Yeah, queen c5, and then
queen e8.
Queen e8, and then he just simply got the knight back to c3.
And I presume that is threatening queen c7, isn't it? It's cutting out your sacrificial idea of knight d5 at some point.
Yeah,
and then White's just threatening queen c7.
And Black played e5.
Yeah.
And I have no more moves, but I kind of expect knight b5. How is he going to stop that massive fork on?
I can win a pawn with queen c7, can't I? I would have thought.
Yeah, but
win a pawn straight away.
What's wrong with knight b5?
Well, I can't see anything wrong with it at the moment.
And for b6, I'm hoping I'll play queen c6, kind of.
That finishes the game, doesn't it? The only thing I can see is to pray that bishop g4 works.
Knight c7 in. Not many squares for the queen. That's my point.
All right, queen f8.
Yeah. e5 play and. He still can't play bishop d4, isn't it?
I mean, White will probably take a look at those variations, and if he can't make it work, he'll just play queen c7. I mean, that just looks very strong, doesn't it?
So what's wrong with bishop d4?
Now?
You don't win the pawn on b7 straight away.
Am I not winning that pawn? Why am I not winning that pawn? Seems to win a pawn.
Bishop takes d1 and then bishop takes a8, queen takes a8.
That's a pawn, isn't it? Oh, what does Black play here? I mean, he's got his second pawn here. Got the back rank to worry about. Must be winning.
So I think Howell is thinking of queen c7 now, really. Queen c7, he's got to get bishop g4, otherwise rook d8 is the pin. So queen c7, could he play bishop e6? Oh, Howell didn't even go queen c7, he just played h3.
H3?
Yeah, not allowing that bishop to come out. And then if bishop d7 now, it's just bishop b7 and queen a7 winning. And if he plays bishop e6, just queen e5.
So now he's saying, well, you haven't got any moves. I'm threatening knight b5 or queen c7, and you just don't have a move.
Okay, so what's wrong with bishop d7? I just want to find out.
Well, whip off a pawn.
Bishop into b7, rook b8.
And then just run away with the pawn, right? You go rook c8 there. Okay, so what if I take yet another pawn? Keep taking things. Do any law against that?
I can take on h3. I think it's getting complicated. I don't like that move h3. That's why I like queen c7 very much.
Yeah, but why? It's a pawn up for nothing, right? You're just fishing, aren't you?
Yeah, what are you going to play now?
Well, I like d5, keep it rational. I'll pawn up. You know, I mean, let's get real here. There's no chance of black landing any cheaper on white's king because the pieces are the other end of the board. Must be completely lost. But that was just taking things, wasn't it? I mean, just taking it off, taking the pawns off. Let's confirm this. Yeah, nasty. -3. That's pretty bad. So h3 could be a very strong move, couldn't it? And it just says, well, you haven't got to move in reply. There's nothing to play. And he's probably right.
So bishop e6, you're playing bishop into b7.
You're still trying to defend this. I mean, now e5 is on free, right?
Yeah.
Which one do I want?
I think I have to put the bishop on f5.
You want to play bishop f5?
Yeah, bishop f5, bishop takes b7, rook d8.
Rook d8?
Yeah.
Well, I just played the endgame. Rook takes rook and queen takes pawn. Have another pawn. Thank you. Not so difficult. All my pieces protected. Lost, completely lost.
Bishop h3.
Okay, I'm pawn up, right? Why do I need to worry? I mean, you can keep the game going, but it's completely lost, isn't it?
Okay, now we have lots of moves in the...
Are you agreeing with me, first of all?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, very difficult. Anybody else see anything for black we missed? Even flip the board. Looks even worse from this position now. This black queen side looks quite difficult to develop. It's a very thematic Catalan game, isn't it? I mean, anybody who plays the Catalan, this is the sort of position you're aiming for.
We'll try the Suarez.
Okay, this looks bad. All right, any other thoughts on that game before we move on? Looks completely winning for white.
Yeah.
Okay, Rudd versus Pert. Can we catch up?
So, yeah, queen e2, bishop d6.
Now, just before we go through the moves, it has to be said that we thought white was winning. The computer thinks it's, black can limit it to -1.5, which is not good.
Yeah.
So, okay, what did he do? Bishop d6.
Queen a6 check.
No, black's move. Bishop d6?
Bishop d6.
All right.
Queen a6, rook b7.
Yes.
Knight f3, queen g3.
All right. All as advertised.
And then he went queen a8, which is what I don't like. I think I preferred keeping the queen on e2 and taking rook a6, which is just gone queen a8, bishop to b8. And
so c4 plus
C4.
2.3.
c4 played.
No, now.
Knight g5.
c4 was played.
Yeah.
In the game.
Yeah. Knight g5.
Knight g5.
No, queen a6, queen a8 check he played first.
No, but queen a8 check is not the best move, is it? Queen a8 check. That's the move which slows things down. So if he goes c4 straight away, black hasn't got any moves.
Can I play bishop b4?
Bishop b4, doubt it. Queen takes e6 check, that's the point. So c4 there would have been very strong for white, just opening up the bishop, including the bishop in the attack. So he goes.
So he played queen a8.
Queen a8 check, bishop b8.
Bishop b8, c4.
c4.
Knight g5.
Knight g5. Could that be the move that Jack missed?
Yeah, and then knight e5.
Knight e5.
And then knight h3 check. King h1. knight f2, rook takes f2, queen takes f2, and I think he's lost an exchange now, and he's fishing for something now, and he went queen a6 now.
Queen a6, wow.
Yeah, well, he's threatening some queen c6 check and some rook a. And now Nick played queen b6 and said, let's get the queen off the board.
So actually, Perth seems to have escaped. Incredible.
It was that queen a8 check was bad.
Yeah.
That c4 kept, the queen kept an angle on e6 as well as that, isn't it? I mean, I think, you know, sadly, however well he played, I think looks like black is on the rebound here. So he went queen a4, which is, I think, looks like you're retreating all the way.
Yeah.
And then he played rook a7.
Oh,
queen
dear.
c2. I mean, this is like rook into a1, bishop into a1, and then in came queen a6. C takes d5 check, king b7. And then queen c6.
Yeah.
Queen into c6, d into c6, king b6. And he played knight d7. King into c6.
Mm-hmm. Takes on b8.
Bishop into g7 first.
Okay, got it.
Rook d8. Knight into b8, rook into b8, bishop at h6, rook into b4. And I have a feeling black is going to win this. You know, he's going to raid him down, isn't it?
Right, well, let's see if we can do something about
G3,
this.
rook b5.
Hang on a minute, G3, why is black going to win? Wait a minute, let's have a look at this. Hang on, just a second.
I think the problem is he's threatening rook h4 check.
I only have to play bishop G7, don't I? Then
Well, bishop d7 is rook h4 check and rook h5. You completely lost there.
May be forced to agree with you.
Okay, so G3, then rook b5, threatening that.
Yeah.
G4, and then now rook b4. Sadly, I think, you know, played a good game, but king h2, rook b4, king h3.
This is still the game?
Yeah, still the game, king h3.
King h2, rook takes, king h3.
Yeah, and I think now...
How frustrating this must be
Yeah.
for Jack Rudd.
Put the rook on g8.
Yeah, I mean, now it's a question of just pushing the pawn. Rook g8, I mean, what can he do?
And then if he comes bishop e3, then king comes to d5. And then the king comes to e4. If the king gets in time...
White's king is cut out of the action, isn't
Yeah.
it? So let's see, you move the bishop somewhere. All right. Okay, move the king, not king there. Why does it do that? King there.
You know the famous expression, let's say, you know...
I can think of several.
Okay. One of the things is that you see a check, you give a check. I let you put something before that, you know. But so I think that in the crucial position that, you know, he played queen a6 check, which was normal, but then he couldn't, you know, avoid the temptation to give another check, which actually put his queen away from the battle zone. Although it's attacking the king, but the queen had a very important point in attacking the e6, and you know, c4 without that.
So that was the critical position.
Yeah.
And White had to play c4.
Yeah.
And that was winning, probably.
Yeah.
Because black can't move anything. The queen on a6 keeps, as Ravi says, eyeing up the e6 pawn.
Yeah.
Which means he can't move
And
his
also
bishop.
now, you know, also the problem is that black has no counter threat, and that bishop is coming alive.
Well, I mean, already I'm threatening some things here, aren't I?
Yeah. But you know, when you see a
C5
check,
is a threat.
Yeah.
C5 is a threat.
Yeah. But I mean, it's really like very, very difficult that he's seen this queen a8 check, and after bishop b8, you know, his position has.
I wonder if Jack rushed that move, you know.
Yeah.
He looks a little bit hurried. Such a shame, because actually he played pretty well, didn't he? Set up this attack, just c4. Quick check with the old engine. Can black do anything? Doesn't look like it. Maybe knight g5.
Okay, he's now played rook g8,
And then c5. Yeah, that's the major threat, isn't it? And we can even allow a check on h2, king f2, check here, king e2, check here, king d1.
only an engine can play like that.
So let's go back to the game. Okay, so black is now winning.
He
Rook
played
g8.
rook g8.
Yes.
And he played king h4.
Yes.
And in came king d5.
Yeah.
And now he's played bishop g5.
Yeah.
So I think the problem now is that, you know, he's going to put the king on g4. And I think for king e5 he's going to play
king e4 looks right.
king e4, king g5, e5.
Right. Now hang on a second. King g4.
So what is
How are we going to win this?
What is white threatening? White is threatening h6, king h5, h7, and king g6. Okay, this is his threat.
No, but you can never do that. 'Cause as soon as you go king h5, I can play king f5, don't I?
Yeah. But
so let's push a pawn. What do you do?
So king e4, king g4, e5. I think that's the problem. I got to play h6 now.
All right. Now rook h8.
King. I can't play king h5. So that's the problem.
So you have to move your bishop now. So what if I went bishop back here? Say how you're going to win. Do I play king d3? Is that the winning?
Yeah, and I think that in a way, I think Nick.
Might this not be a draw?
That's winning. But Nick just played e5. So okay.
This is the game.
No, he hasn't played king e4. He's played e5 straight away.
e5 straight away.
So his motivation is if pawn comes to h6, king comes to e6, and then king h5, king f7, blocking it off, and then that's it.
Okay, so I play king g4. Got to try and get my king in.
King g4, king e6.
King e6. Okay, h6.
E4.
King h5.
King f7. That's the problem. You don't have anything on king f5 as well.
Wait a minute.
King f5.
Bishop e3.
Rook to g3.
Easy.
You have this nasty check on h3.
All right. Well, bishop f4 then.
Bishop f4, then rook g1. Nasty check on h1. You see the h6 played in the game and then king e6 played in the game. I think that king h5 is king f5.
So h6 played.
Okay, king
e6
played.
Yeah.
And then now king h5, king f5 is pretty much gone.
Oh yeah, if black gets his king to f5, it looks gone. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you play king g4 now he's played king h5, Jack has played king h5.
Well, okay, king
and
here.
then king f5 is h7, rook h8, king h6, rook h7, king h7, king b5. Have a nice day.
It was as simple as that, was it?
Yeah.
So what's the position in the game?
The question in the game is the white king has come to h5 and it's black is thinking.
Well, okay, king f5. Now it's your
King f5, what about bishop e3?
pass, all right. Well, okay, so you're in a mating net here, aren't you? Rook g3.
Yeah.
That's it, isn't it? That's game over.
So king h5, king f5, h7.
So that's black's theme. If the bishop
h7,
moves, he can play for
rook
mate.
h7, and then king h6, and then you have rook h7, and then.
So h7, just one more time. Take this slowly. h7.
Rook
Why
h8.
can't I play rook takes g5 check? That wins immediately. And play rook g1 with a skewer. That's game over.
So king f5, he's got to move the bishop back.
Well, then we get this mating idea.
What happens if he moves the bishop to h4?
Bishop h4. Right. Well, now there must be some Zultwang here. I would have thought. Well, okay. I could have played here, could I not?
I think that bishop e3, just e4.
Yeah. Okay. Now it's your move, isn't it? So he goes h7.
Rook h8.
King here. I think I'm drawing this.
So what is the move you're playing? You're playing
Bishop e3.
bishop e3.
Okay, so what if I played rook h8? Curious move. What do? You just come back or what? Bishop g5, is that right?
Yeah. Then e4.
Then go back.
Okay, and now rook h7. And now the rook is going to shift around, keeping an eye there.
Ah, okay, so that's possibly one of Black's ideas. Put the rook on h7.
And so I think that once rook is on h7, you then play rook b7, and then possibly king f6, and then try to get the king to g8. It's also gone, isn't it? So, but Jack has played another move, which is bishop e7.
In this position?
Yeah, he went bishop e7. So what he's saying is that if you played rook h8, I'll play bishop f8. No, rook h8. Yeah, rook h8 is probably have to get the bishop back to g5. I think the rook has got to come to h7 there.
Rook h7, okay.
Rook h7 has to come. That is the main thing.
So he moves his bishop somewhere.
Yeah.
Where does he move it? Back to g5, let's say.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I can see the position that the rook is on h7, the king comes to e6, and then I think that I got to get my king to g8 to win this game. So, but you have to, if you have the bishop away on e3 and then I have pawn on e4, and as long as I keep my rook on h7, the only move you have is bishop on g5 and to e3. And then there is no process there.
Ah, I have an idea actually. There is an idea in the position where, well, let's say Black's got his rook on the h file and then White plays bishop h4. Could we have had that position?
Yeah.
Then can't we go e3? And if h7, e2, and if h8 equals queen, rook takes h4 check, and then queen with check, and the skewer wins because he can't get off the h file.
Yeah. So, but why is this not winning? Well, why can't I play in this position?
Well, you can move the rook away, can't you?
Yeah, rook to b7.
Yeah. Well, okay. So how are we defending this? We're just defending it something like this, weren't we?
Yeah.
Well, the way I was thinking it could be done, this was the position I was seeing in my mind's eye. Then you go there. I think this wins because he can't.
Yeah.
He can't get out of this. This skewer. No. Take this first. Sorry. Yeah, that's the winning idea, isn't it? Then queen, then and then. Right. Which position? This position.
Right.
What were you doing? Jack played bishop e7, didn't he?
Yeah, he played bishop e7.
Right.
And I think it's now rook h8.
Rook 8.
Rook h8 is what you need to get the rook to h7 first. That's the main thing, isn't it?
The rook's already on h8.
No, rook is on g8. You made a move, I think. You played bishop. The pawn is back on e5.
Right, hang on. So let me see this. What is the position? Bishop's on e3. What happened after the bishop e3?
You didn't play bishop e3. Go back one more move, please. Bishop e7 is played.
All right, okay.
Okay, now the winning maneuver is rook h8. That just, he's got no moves there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if he puts the bishop onto g7.
Well, we can't be stopped from reaching that position, can we?
Yeah, but he might just,
How can he stop us?
Can he play just bishop c5 now? And then e4.
Well, I could just keep going. How can he stop us from reaching that position?
Bishop d4 now.
Okay, 7.
And now bishop g7. Oh, E3 is finishing.
Yeah, you've got to go to E3. You just got to play that and then rook moves out. Then
Well, then black's going to transfer his rook round the back and get that position, isn't he? How can that be stopped?
He's played rook h8. I mean, it's like, this is kind of endgame where you completely visualize, isn't it? Where's the rook going to h7? And then, you know, you've got a position where only you can improve.
I think that's what's going to happen. He's going to get that. I don't think that could be stopped, can it?
Yeah.
The rook comes round at the right moment, forcing white to block, and then he just goes E3.
No, the only thing is that you should avoid bishop f8, bishop g7, but even then, e3, e4, e3 is quite dangerous, so I think...
What can he do? Any moves for white? Anybody got any suggestions? White doesn't have many moves. Got to protect his pawn, let's say.
No matter what happens, I think...
Push, block, rook h7.
Yeah, you have to go
Pass.
bishop g5. And then
Now we come round the back.
e7, yeah. You have to play bishop e3.
Okay, now
I suspect now, what about rook to b1?
Now we get this position. It's quite absolutely forced. Game over.
Yeah.
So that could easily be what happens.
Can I just suggest one thing? Where did you put the bishop on g5, did you?
In this position, yes, I didn't see what else I could do.
I mean, what are you playing here for rook h8? Are you playing bishop g5?
Well, give me a
Now I have a
suggestion.
different idea, that's why
Go on,
I'm saying.
what is it then?
Okay, so you're playing bishop g5 here.
I don't understand what you're getting at.
No, the point is I'm trying to get put the rook on h7 and then get king f6, king f7. Then I got my pawn on e5. Your king is nowhere going to come closer to that.
But the other line just wins, straightforward.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But he's now played bishop b4 for rook h8.
This move here. Okay, rook h7.
Bishop b4.
It's going to be the same thing, isn't it? How can that be stopped?
The point is the pawn is on e5, isn't it? It's not on.
No, but black can push it at his convenience. White can't do anything. So I think that is how it will finish. Just to recap for those people just coming in, looks like the winning plan, white can do nothing, he's just to push the pawn and then bring the rook around to threaten mate. He's got to interpose his bishop and then e3. Nice win. Even allowing white to queen the pawn, because then we've got this lovely move, rook h4 check. And he can't get out the skewer. I think that's going to be the.
He tries to get out of the
continuation.
skewer by king h5 and get checkmated as an alternate.
All right, well, we'll wait to see what happens. So the position is what? Rook h8?
Rook h8 and bishop b4.
Jack played bishop b4. Okay, doesn't change anything. We expect rook h7. All right, back we go, and on we go with Hebden versus Brown. Now, something strange happened in this game, didn't he? Looks like bishop f6 is a mistake by black, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because black needed to keep the f6 square for his knight in order to retreat. Because after bishop f6, Hebden found a very good move here. Queen to d3. Move 21, which we didn't see.
Queen d3. Queen e7.
But I mean, you know, that is going to win material, isn't it?
Yeah.
And now he's fishing. Queen e7, bishop takes d5, rook f d8.
d8. Queen b3, getting out.
I saw this position in the interval, and I thought, okay, did he really intend this,
Rook
or is he
b5,
just
rook b5,
messed
then in
London
came
into
knight b6. And I think this is where the trend turned around, you know, from black being in a very good position. Suddenly it's Hebden because of this knight b6, rook d2, knight c4. He's kind of turned this around brilliantly, isn't it? It's now suddenly good knight against a bad bishop.
What are the moves in the game?
So he played rook into d5,
Rook takes.
rook takes d5, rook takes d5, knight b6 cheapo. Only move is rook d2, which is what he played. Doesn't matter, and then in comes back knight c4. And now suddenly it's a good knight against a bad bishop. I mean, not really that, but the knight is the preferred piece here. Rook went back to d7. And then now rook d1, pressing ahead with superior knight. And then rook takes d1, queen takes d1, queen e4, b3. It's classic, outplaying in a very difficult situation, isn't it?
Well, this has dropped back here. I presume the guy with black is very short of time.
Yeah. He's got 45 seconds now to play his moves, but he must have played a few more moves.
Can't you hold this somehow? What if I was to play? What if I was to play Queen E8 first?
So in that position, after Queen E4.
No, I don't like Queen E4. Why am I provoking him to play a good move? Black should be trying to liquidate some pawns. I don't want to give him B3 for free, do I? I mean, that's the thing. I want to force him to do something.
I think, yeah.
And then when if he moves his queen, let's say, where Queen B3, you can't play B3 anymore. Somehow this looks better to me, because if he goes B6, then obviously that's helped Black's cause. We just take it. That looks like a better move to me. This move, Queen E4, is like pseudo-active. It gives White a free move. I mean, it might be that the best move here is just to hit this anyway. Okay, say I attack the pawn.
I think I don't like Queen E4.
Queen E4 just... Black must have some drawing chances here, for heaven's sake. I suppose the problem is he could get attacked with the Queen and Knight. There must be some drawing chances based on some sacrifice here at a given moment. Well, first of all, I'll hit B5. What are you going to do about that?
Queen D6.
Queen D6. Well, okay, I think I've got to do that, haven't I?
Yeah, and then Queen C6.
Chop this off.
No, I like Queen C6. I like to take it a little later. I just want your queen to go away to a back square.
Yes, obviously this is not very nice, but no, I think the blunder's been made, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I think the blunder's been made. Queen E4. This is making Black's life very uncomfortable.
Yeah. Queen E4, B3. Black played F4.
Already a sign of desperation in a way, but he gets D4 square.
He takes
bishop.
F4, bishop D4.
Yeah.
And then Hebden played Knight A5, threatening Knight C6. Queen D5.
Hang on, just a sec. Let's just carefully consider this.
And now Black played Queen D5, threatening Bishop F2, cheapo.
Yes, okay. Queen D5.
Queen E2.
Queen E2.
Queen D7.
Yeah.
Knight C6.
Okay.
Bishop F6. Queen C4. And you see White is like doing Space Invaders. He's getting everything up there.
What did he play? Queen D6?
Queen C4.
No,
Queen
Knight
D1.
C6 has been played.
Yeah. Knight C6, Bishop F6, Queen C4, Queen D1 check, King G2, Bishop D4, Queen D5, dominating square on D5.
Hebden's completely in his element here.
Yeah, Queen C2.
Could he not have tried? I suppose he wants to keep on this pawn. That's B3.
Queen C2. Now he's reaching a queen in game with Knight D4, C D4, and Queen D8 check. Queen into D4.
Queen D8 check, and then what?
Queen D8 check. King H7. Queen into D4. Queen into B3.
Queen A7.
Queen A7. Queen B5. Queen F7 check.
Hang on a second. Hang on a second. Here.
Queen B5. Queen F7 check.
All over. Probably.
Yeah, probably F5 at the right point. I mean,
well, King H6, I guess.
He hasn't made any move, but I guess if he plays King H6, it's possibly queen sitting on f6, and then at the right movement f5. See, all I need is to put my queen on d4, which is like a unit square, and then at the right moment play queen e5, and then f5.
Yeah. Wherever he puts his king, I just don't know where I'm going to put it really. Queen f6, threatening mate. He's got to go back.
Yeah.
Just queen e5 and f5.
It's
Once he gets f5 in, that's game over. Well, let's keep trying to defend this. Okay, come on, show me the win.
Okay, queen on g5. My queen on g5, white queen on g5, please.
Thankless task. Check.
King at king g1. And f5 now. Let's play king and pawn endgame. As simple as that.
It's as simple as that, is it? Okay, I think we can all see what's going on here.
Yeah.
So what is the position of the game? Queen takes b3?
Yeah. Can I just try one in that desperate endgame?
Well, this position.
Yeah. No, I don't want to play queen e4.
In this position.
Yeah, I would like to play queen b1 check.
But it's illegal.
Yeah, queen c1 check.
Oh, okay. Queen c1 check. All right. Well.
King h2.
Yeah.
And then now I want to hit queen f1. Hit on that. And then you've got to play queen c5, and then eventual f5 again. It's
okay. I will go here.
Yeah, queen c5, and then
now I'm threatening f5 directly, aren't
I? Queen b1 now.
Queen b1. Well. Okay, so now you're drifting away, right? I can go check.
King h8.
King h8. Check.
King h7.
Check.
Don't worry, my queen is protecting on g6, so king h8. King h8.
Right, now f5.
F5, yeah. Okay, that's the problem in this kind of endgame. And we had a couple more moves there. So black has played king h6 straight away.
Which position?
He played queen f7 check. King h6 straight away.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. And I think that now f5, he probably f5, if he takes, and then king f3, king g6, king f4, king f6. I don't know. Hebden is thinking possibly f5 now straight.
Well, I mean, after queen f6, king h7, can you? There's no reason why you should play f5. I mean, white's going to just find the right moment to play f5. Can we just agree on that?
Yeah.
I think that is fairly inevitable. Any more thoughts on Howe versus Jackson? Jackson was being gradually beaten up here. H3 was the last move. We couldn't see any way of developing his position.
He played h6.
H6, okay. And then we thought queen c7, is that right?
Queen c7, and then bishop g4.
Yeah. No, surely not.
Yeah, bishop g4 because of the
skewer.
hanging.
Yeah, bishop.
H takes g4,
Yeah.
rook c8.
Yes.
Queen b7.
Hang on. Queen b7, yes.
Rook c3.
Yes.
Queen at a3. Queen at a7.
Queen a7.
Queen e6.
So let's see. After knight takes g4, is there an easy win here? There must be an easy win we're missing.
Can't he go queen d7 and just exchange and go for that?
Well, then he takes on a3. I'm sure there is an easy win here, but...
Well, what are you threatening? Nothing. Can't I play just queen back to b6, touching base on d8?
Yeah, you can. Okay, I imagine that's a fairly thankless task.
Yeah.
What did he do?
He played queen e6.
Queen e6.
And then Howard played b5, Queen b3, Queen b8 check, King at 7, and now Rook f1, just saving the rook. And Black played e4, Queen e5, powerful move, centralizing everything. Rook c4 only move, protecting that, and now
Hang on, rook c4.
Rook c4. He's got.
So why can't I take on? Oh, you take on. This is
Yeah. So Rook c4 protecting that.
Yeah.
And now comes a4. And the point
A4.
is, if you take on a4, I think he's going to play some g5 and.
Well, I will take on a4. Rook takes a4.
Yeah. Can I play Queen f5 check first?
Queen f5 check. Got to go back.
And then Rook c1.
Rook c1. Yeah, the sad thing for Black is he's 2 pawns down. Not. He was 2 pawns down.
Yeah.
If he's got to start going backwards here, all right. Rook a8. And now you can just, what do? Take on e4. That's the point, isn't it?
Yeah. Just very similar. It's going to go into some endgame where it's going to connect things. So a4, Queen a4 is just Queen f5 check.
That's the game position, is it?
a4 played and Black is in.
It's Black getting short of time.
Yeah.
I don't know, it just seems to me Black's position's improved over the last few moves because White's played Rook f1, it's been passive. Admittedly, Black's position's a little bit fragmented, but...
We've got a few more moves in Jack Red against Nicholas Burt.
Okay, go on then.
So we were in Bishop to b4 was played,
Yeah.
e4 was played,
e4, all right.
Bishop to d2,
Yeah,
Rook to d8,
okay,
Bishop to g5,
yes.
Rook to g8,
Not Rook d3,
now Rook to g8.
all right. Of course, Nick can
Bishop
take,
to h4,
take
Rook
his
to
time.
h8,
Yeah,
Bishop to f2, Rook h7.
so he's just come to the winning position again.
Yeah, see now the bishop has to keep in tandem.
Well, just to recap, I mean, the winning idea is, just to play the rook around the back. There's nothing he can do about this.
Well, if he plays bishop h4 now, there's e3, so he's got to play bishop e3. When then he comes rook to d7, and then that is winning, isn't it? I mean.
So this is the game position.
Yeah.
Rook on h7.
Yeah.
And White's bishop on b4.
Yeah.
Just going to get that other position. Hebden Brown.
But also the other winning position, that can I just say, in the previous one is Black also has the option of playing King f6 and King f7 and King g8 and then rook out. That also wins. But he doesn't need to do that. And Jack played bishop e3, the last position.
Okay, which variation are we getting
He's
here?
got pawn on e4.
Okay, what move board? Rook h8,
Rook
move
h8.
56.
Rook h8, bishop b4,
Yeah,
e4,
yes,
bishop d2,
yes,
rook d8, bishop g5, rook g8, bishop h4,
yeah.
rook h8, bishop f2, rook h7, bishop e3.
Okay, so rook b7 looks correct, doesn't it?
Yeah, rook b7. Because the thing is that you've got to move the bishop now. You can't move the king because if you move the king gets to g6, and then the rook comes to f3, and then that's the problem.
I think it's becoming clear what's happening in most of these games, so it's time for a roundup. Of the games left in progress on the top 3 boards, this is the most unclear, but it looks as though Howell is winning. Have we got any more moves in that game? Yeah, that's what was suggested. Queen takes.
Okay, we got one more move. Black played rook into a4, and White played rook c1, which is threatening Queen f5 check and rook c8. Looks quite problematic for him now.
So have you taken with the queen? Does he go rook b1 then? Or even rook a1? I think rook a1 is probably the strongest, isn't it?
So what's the difference for rook c4? What's happening for rook c4?
Well, this way, holding on to me.
But don't you get mated? You could get mated here, couldn't you? I think that's the idea. Queen f5 check is deadly. And then rook a8 in this particular line. So he took with the rook, and now rook c1. Is that it?
Rook c1, rook c4.
Rook c4 happened? Okay.
And if you play rook a1 now, and you go rook a4.
What if I go queen f5 check and rook a1? Isn't that crushing?
No, but he plays rook a1 straight away. Anyway, you have to keep queen f5 check.
I have to keep it in reserve. Yeah, so the threat's queen f5 and rook a8. So what does black do about that? He can't play rook c8 because of queen f5 check straight away.
And he plays rook a4. Oh, they're repeating now for 1 second. So rook a1, rook a4, rook c1, rook c4. He's repeated because he needs that extra 1 minute. And
well, just wondering about this position. If he can't see what else to play, he can do takes here, can't he? Now,
so can he play queen f5 check? King
Takes.
e8, rook takes c4, queen takes c4, g5. Isn't that supposed to win for him? Because he's keeping an eye on the b5 pawn. He's exchanged that. He's kept an eye on everything. Bishop can drop back to f1.
yes, this endgame can be reached probably by force, and it looks winning for white. Bit of work to do though. It's not completely over yet. But white's a pawn up. He's got black's king open. That's the problem for black. He's got two weaknesses. He's got to defend against the passed pawn. He's also got to defend against his weak king. So I presume this is winning. Al's just getting close to the time control or gaining some extra time. Any more moves? So rook c4, that's the position.
Yeah. Rook takes c4 played, queen takes c4 played. Now I have a feeling he's going to play g5 straight away.
Well, why not?
And
Why not just go g5 and get this endgame? He looks winning.
Yeah. And going back to check, there's a few more moves.
Still playing?
Yeah, bishop e3.
Yes.
Rook d7. Bishop.
Hang on, just there's been a bit of confusion with the variation. Let's do it. Okay, rook d7 doesn't make any difference. And
Bishop g5. He's kept an eye on e3. So am I seeing the variation e3, bishop e3? Oh, he's got bishop g5 and then.
well, somehow black's got to fiddle around to gain a tempo. So what if he goes rook b7?
Bishop e3.
No, but then I go rook b1. That's gaining a tempo, isn't it? Which is what I need to win this endgame.
So rook b7, can I play king h4? Then it's king g6 I'm lost.
Yeah, once the king gets in.
So he's got to get the rook to b7.
Well, it just gains a tempo, doesn't it? Which is the important thing. Because if he comes down the back,
rook b7, can I keep the? I can't keep the bishop on d8. So
one second, if he comes down the back here,
now h7,
h7, and this suddenly gives white chances, doesn't it?
Yeah. More chances.
Yeah, more chances. So he's got to gain a tempo with rook b7, and now what does white play? Threat is rook b1 with the same line as before.
Yep.
White's problem is he has to make a move. Bishop c1, then we go rook b3.
So he's played rook b7 now, gaining the tempo. Because when the bishop goes to c1 now, he comes rook b3. Then there's unavoidable checkmate.
Well, he's got to play king h4 then.
Yeah, when he plays bishop, when he come now plays bishop e3, I think that's rook b1. The only move is bishop g5, and then rook h8 check.
So hang on a minute, rook b7. Where are you going to play bishop c1? I can play rook b1 now, can't I? Rook b1 is the most straightforward.
Rook b1 h7.
No, rook takes bishop.
Oh, you got that.
Yeah. So that is the winning move. And just to recap, for those of you who just come in, we go check, bishop h4, now e3. Very nice. Just let's see it. one more time, and then this cube move. That is the winning idea.
I think he's played king h4 now, Jack. So that allows king back to g6, and then it's all over.
So rook b7. He's played what? King h4.
Yeah. Can he play now rook b1? And what's the difference of him giving rook check and taking the bishop?
Rook b1. Well, I've got to move my bishop. Where am I going to put it? I've got to keep it on the diagonal. He just comes and takes the pawn off with a check.
So if you go bishop e3, then I go rook h1 check, and then you go king g3. So bishop e3, I think I will play rook e1 here, not letting the bishop relax. Because you don't have h7 because of that rook check. So you got to play bishop f2 or something like that.
Well, what's wrong with just going rook h1 and rook h5?
No, but once you allow the king back to g3, and then you.
Well, how do you? Let's have a look at this. King here, rook b1, bishop where? e3. You're suggesting a check.
Yeah.
King here.
And then just rook h5.
Rook h5. Okay. Well, king. I suppose this is winning. Yeah, it looks as though Black will win this in a different way. He's going to infiltrate
The
with
king
his
coming
king.
to d3, that's the main thing. King e5 now.
Well, it's White's move. White's got to make a move. King g2, then king g4. Is that right?
Yeah.
King f2, check, and Black infiltrates, right? Or
Yeah.
does he? King g1. What does he play here, Black? How does Black win this? Rook here. I don't know. Is it so easy? So king h4 is the position in the game. There should be some way to put White in Zugzwang here.
So if I went with king g6, what
King
do you play?
g6, he has to move his king, doesn't he?
King g4 and then rook f7.
Rook f7, and then I have to move my bishop somewhere.
Because I'm threatening rook f5 and
Or say I pass with the bishop.
yeah, now rook to f1.
Rook f3 perhaps. What about that?
No, it's f1.
Rook f1. All right, bishop f4.
Okay.
Is it so easy? Maybe it is quite easy. He can put up some resistance here. So Black's thinking in this position, is it? With the king on h4.
So he's played rook. He's played rook b3, not allowing something. And if h7,
He's going to go back.
he's going to go to rook to b1 and then queen and win that. And because he's played now, the king goes to h5. He's got that same rook h3 check, bishop h4, e3, h7, and now bishop c1 has come back. And I have a feeling now king g6 he's going to win with king
Well,
g6.
what's the move after rook b3?
After rook b3, bishop c1.
Yes.
Now he's got to get king g6 and allow king g4, and then he's got e3, then king f3 is there. It's not easy, as we think.
Well, I'm queening with check, right? That makes a difference. So what if I push?
I think now,
Push a pawn.
you know, black has to play rook c3 now there.
Sorry, what happens after
No,
this?
rook c3. There's a point to rook c3.
Okay. Which is?
I got to go bishop g5. I mean, bishop f4, bishop d2, rook c2. It's all angling to that. rook c3, bishop d2, then rook c2. Then
I don't understand what's going on here.
rook d2.
D2. Yes, that's the point.
I'm just trying to get one extra tempo, and then
Well, you can get that tempo going.
you see, as long as I can harass that bishop, rook c3, bishop d2, rook c2, bishop e3, rook e2, h7 is always that. So, in trouble. Rook e2 now.
This is the position. I honestly didn't see what was wrong with this. I just think, why not straightforwardly push the pawn?
e3, h7,
Oh no, h7, you push this pawn.
queen.
Oh, get mate. It's mate. I even take a bishop.
So e3, king g3, what happens? e3, king g3.
If I'll take a bishop, yeah. Take a bishop. That's
e3, king g3. I don't play h7, I play king
fine.
g3.
Okay, king g3, yes, but now it's a bit different, isn't it? Still queening with check, right? Right, okay, so bring my king in. Now what? h7?
Yeah, h7.
All right. Now the point is that okay, rook h8, you go bishop b2.
Yeah. And then now you go king d3.
King d3, that is le point. No, it's not winning, is it?
No. If I queen. Yeah, if I queen. Yeah, I queen.
But I don't do that. I play this move first, don't I?
Yeah, then king f2.
And king f2. Okay, then. Damn it. Am I one tempo short? So king d3 doesn't win though, does it?
No. I think he should play rook c3 there. Keeping his options open because.
Any more moves?
No,
Right. Position after bishop c1, that's it?
that's it.
Right, okay, so this might be a draw, but it seems very unlikely. Rook f3.
Okay, the Howell game has finished.
Right, after rook there, if he goes h7, you're going rook f1, that's the point. Just get the rook on the business side of the pawn. And black's threatening just e3.
Bishop d2, is it e3?
Yeah, why not?
The Howell game has finished.
All right, well, let's have a look at this. How game is finished.
So
Okay.
rook into c4, queen into c4.
Yeah.
And then Howell played b6. He didn't even bother for anything else.
b6. Okay.
Queen b4, controlling that pawn.
Yes.
Queen f5 check.
King.
King g8.
Yes.
Queen c8 check. King h7.
b7.
b4, b7, threatening to queen. And the brilliant part of it is the queen on c8 is keeping an eye on the pawn on g4 as well.
Well, even if that pawn.
Queen e1 check, bishop f1.
Yeah.
It is answered.
So he found a way to win without needing to. Found the king side. Very nice.
Out of the pass pawn.
Well, of course, the problem is that Black found himself in a Catalan middle game where he had no development. We just have to go to this position where White played Queen takes c4, very nice, to see that Black is in trouble and was unable to recover. Absolutely thematic Catalan motif. White's bishop on g2 exerting tremendous pressure on Black's queen side, and Black quite unable to use his rook or his bishop sensibly. And after that, Howe played very nicely. So a nice win by David Howe, very nice. because Jackson's a formidable opponent. Just recently won an open tournament at the Weald, ahead of Nick Pert, among others. So very strong. Hebden versus Brown. Any more moves? I imagine White's torturing Black here in the most unpleasant way.
He's got.
He's just going to get F5 in at the right moment. White's looking to time this move.
So which move are we in?
It's that type of game. 42 King H7.
42 King H7.
Yeah.
Queen E7.
Queen E7 check.
King G8.
King
Queen
G8.
E6 check.
Sorry, King
H7.
G8. Hang on.
And I don't know why.
Queen E6 check. King H7.
And then
Yeah.
Queen E7 check.
Yes.
And now Queen E4. King
Hang on.
H7.
Where's the king going? One move at a time. I know you can't
King
stand the
went to-
Hebden torture any more than his opponents can.
King goes to G8.
Right. Okay.
And now he played Queen E4.
Right.
King F7, and he's thinking how to win this one.
He's thinking, how can I win this in 3 more hours to make his life as miserable as possible? Well, it's all coming down to whether you can play F5, isn't it?
Now, if you play F5 now, GF5 chance. And I think he kind of put the queen away from there. You know, he had the chance much earlier, you see.
This position, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
You should
why
have
could
gone
I not
Queen
go
F7.
here?
No.
Well, you want to drive why not?
Well, I have this Queen C6 check and
Okay.
Queen F3.
Right, so I see what you mean.
And plus F7. I think he should play Queen F7 check and F5. So that was the crucial bit that he missed. Can we go to that, please?
This position?
Yeah. Played Queen E6. If Queen is on F7 check.
Queen F7 check.
Yeah, King F6 was there. And then what did he play? He played Queen F6, didn't he?
Yeah, something like that.
I think Queen F6 now is probably Queen check and Queen F3. That's the main problem. I think Black is fighting here. I mean,
Is that the position? What's the position in the game? Can we get it, please?
the Queen has gone back to E4, and then the King is on F7.
So how do we get this? Queen E7 check, King G8, Queen E6 check, King
Yeah.
H7,
Queen E6 check, King H7.
yeah, Queen E4.
Queen E7, King G8, Queen E4, King F7. Queen
E7 check,
King G8,
King G8, Queen E4.
King F7.
Right, okay. Well, okay, so he's got to play with F5 at the right moment. It comes down to that.
So the first thing is for F5, GF5, he's got to target that thing. So it might be.
I think that could be quite difficult to win, you know. Okay, I can put my queen on G5. Let's see if that works. So F5, we take it, Queen F3. Now what do you do?
King G6,
Then Queen F4.
Queen check.
Where? C6? All right, King H2. And now Queen F6, is that right? This might be difficult to win.
Yeah.
So we've got to be a bit more patient than that. Really not that easy.
Jack Rudd's game has just finished after Rook D3.
Rudd's game finished. Okay, let's
Yeah,
see
Rook
it.
D3.
Let's see it. So
Okay.
Rook
Bishop
B3,
C1,
yes.
Rook C3,
Rook C3.
Bishop D2,
Yeah,
Rook D3,
yeah.
Bishop C1, E3. Because he's simply ignoring H7 with
Oh, we queen with check. That's the
E2 and
king.
E1 Queen check.
So
that's-
the only move's King G3. And now what?
King G3 is E2 check.
Ah, and then King F2, Rook to D1.
Yeah.
Yes, very nice. A bit tragic that for Jack Rudd, really. I mean, it's a strange game, wasn't it? Because it looks as though Rudd was getting himself into difficulty with all those pawn moves. Here he is. What do you think, Jack? You missed a win, eh? Yeah. A bit tragic, that game, really. What was your summary of the game? Oh well, we won't quiz him too much because it must be exhausting to play a game like that. But it was a strange game, and we thought that the point where White played Queen A8 checks C4 was just very strong. Anyway, Pert played the endgame well. It was doubtful whether there was any moment where White could hold the endgame, the bishop versus rook. So well done, Nick Pert. The victory for perseverance there, I think. But White should have won that, I think. All right, well, Hebden versus Brown. We come to this endgame. He's got to find the right moment to play F5. That's it. I mean, that's what it boils down to. It could go on for hours. And Harrier Hawkins, that was a blunder, wasn't it, by Ravi Harrier? That was it. The critical moment in this game was this particular moment where White played rook takes C8 check, ceding the file. Once he did that, he lost. He overlooked a discovered attack at the end, a basic tactic. He should have played rook A C1 with much better chances to draw in this position. Although, you know, Black can be forced to play an endgame after Queen B4, something like Queen C5 takes Knight F5. Is this so easy? Okay, Black's a pawn up. Hawkins is a great endgame player, so he probably would have won this. But nevertheless, it would have gone on for longer. So it's a pretty interesting game this afternoon. I hope you agree. And thank you very much for watching both online and in the audience. We'll be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. If you're watching online, please don't forget to subscribe to the ECF YouTube channel. And all the games of the day will be featured exclusively on that channel and will be coming up there, uploaded on the morning of the next day after the round. So thanks very much, and we'll see you tomorrow at 3 p.m. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ravi. Lovely. That's it.